স্যারকে ফোন করে জয়েন করতে, আর বলছে ইয়ে ছিল মডারেটর, কি নাম ছিল যেন? হ্যাঁ, অন্বেষাদেব। অন্বেষাদেব তো হবে না।
Wow, that was a brilliant execution of Monami's talent. So now let's move on to our next performance from Disha Mahapatro from BPharm second year with our dance.
Just a minute. I just welcome Professor Bandana Patrovale. Yeah, good morning, madam.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Yeah, keynote speaker. Yeah, welcome you. Okay, continue. Please continue.
Yeah.
আকাশে বইছে প্রেম নয়নে লাগিল নেশা কারা যে ডাকিল That was a captivating performance. Now coming up, Piwadak from the firm first year to delight with her song.
যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে, তবে একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো রে, তবে একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো রে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে, যদি কেউ কথা না কয় ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা, কেউ কথা না কয়, যদি সবাই থাকে মুখ ফিরায় সবাই করে ভয়, যদি সবাই থাকে মুখ ফিরায় সবাই করে ভয়, তবে পরাণ খুলে ও তুই মুখ ফুটে তোর মনের কথা একলা বলো রে, ও তুই মুখ ফুটে তোর মনের কথা একলা বলো রে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে, যদি সবাই ফিরে যায় ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা সবাই ফিরে যায়, যদি গহন পথে যাবার কালে কেউ ফিরে না চায়, যদি গহন পথে যাবার কালে কেউ ফিরে না চায়, তবে পথের কাঁটা ও তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে, ও তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে, যদি আলো না ধরে ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা আলো না ধরে, যদি ঝড় বাদলে আধার রাতে দুয়ার দেয় ঘরে, যদি ঝড় বাদলে আধার রাতে দুয়ার দেয় ঘরে, তবে বজ্রা নলে আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা জলরে, আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা জলরে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে।
That was simply brilliant. Now, this is the end of our first half of the cultural event. We will be back soon. Now, handing over to Vivek sir and Piali ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, good morning, everyone present here. Welcome to all my respected teachers, colleagues, delegates, and all my dear students. Myself, Dr. Vivek Barik, Assistant Professor, with my team, Ms. Piali Khamkar and Mr. Brahmoji Chatterjee, welcomes all our members to the National Seminar on Intellectual Property Rights and Industrial Academia Collaboration, which is organized by Department of Pharmaceutical Technology with collaboration with Department of Biotechnology, Brainwave University. Intellectual property rights are the rights given to person over the creation of their mind. They usually given the creator an exclusive right over the use of his or her creation for a certain period of time. Here we are going with copyright and right related to copyright and industrial property. Now, with this, let's start our program. But before that, it is important to know about an organization which help us to teach, to develop, and to show us a path for future enlightenment. So before that, we start. Let's have some words about the university and department by Ms. Piali Khamkar. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. So, good morning, one and all present here. Hope you all are doing well. Myself, Piali Kamkar, Assistant Professor, Department of Pharmaceutical Technology, Brainwave University. Here, I will share some words about the organization that given me the opportunity to say something about our objectives. Brainwave University, Kolkata, a leading education group started with the aim of contributing to nation-building thoughts through research, innovation, and quality education. Behind this, the struggle and determination with all the success is only because of one person, that is Mr. Falguni Mukhopadhyay, the Chancellor whose acumen and vision have transformed Brainwave University into one of the best cubicles of learning in every aspect. Established in 2016 as a UGC recognized private state university in West Bengal. Brainware University offers over 60 PhD, PG, UG, diploma and skill programmers to over 10,000 students. The university provides a well-stocked library with national and international journals providing adequate resources to the students. Education is incomplete without sports and recreational activities. Brainware also organizes seminars, workshops, and fairs to unleash the creativity of the students. To tap into their hobbies, students could also join to the different types of clubs like photography clubs, tech clubs, communication clubs, and many more. Even in this pandemic, the education process has never stopped. The online classes help the students to continue their courses uninterruptedly. With Vision, Denver University aims to cast the transformative light on the society and the students by promoting quality education and research facilities at affordable fees. Now, I am privileged to share some views on our department. Department of Pharmaceutical Technology was established in 2017 at Brainware University campus. The department is well equipped with state-of-the-art infrastructural facilities for teaching and research. The Department of Pharmaceutical Technology at Brainware University provides high-level quality teaching along with highly sophisticated instruments and well-furnished laboratories to cultivate curious and inventive scholars such that they become competent enough to face the challenges from academic as well as from industry. The department is not just a department but rather a sweet home, which has given all the success in every point of independent life. We have learned a lot and taught a lot by expressing our thoughts and experiences to the dear students. We have all the knowledge and support to share the outcome based studies. Overall, we build ourselves to fulfill the unexpected thoughts to the students. The Department of Pharmaceutical Technology has given all the rights to build a career for the students and the persons who have not only seen a future, rather to grab the future with all respect. We have the best classroom and labs and the stores for the students. Rather, we're proud to say that not only the students, we staff members also got the freedom to work here with all the guidance and support, which is not possible without our Brainware family. Here we are collaborating with the Biotechnology Department, Brainware University, headed by Dr. Ayushman Ghosh. Now, let's have our university video. So I request our technical team to share the video. So now let's have our university video. So now I request Vivek sir to continue the session. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Piali ma'am, for these optimistic words. I welcome our VC sir to please give us permission to continue this program for further success. Sir, please.
Okay, thank you very much. I can continue the program in the form of, some welcome talk and other things which I feel pertinent in this context. Okay.
Right.
But at the outset, I also like to remind you, because of some assignments elsewhere, after the conclusion of the, talk, I will not be able to remain here. I will have to leave. Please bear with me for reasons beyond control. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. Hope all of you were physically and mentally okay during the pandemic situation. Please take care of the term. Hope all of you were physically and mentally okay during the pandemic situation. Now you are enjoying the present almost near normal situation. Am I clear? In my
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
okay, okay. To tell you very frankly, I'm really feeling honored to address the gathering in this
Sir,
national
sir,
webinar.
sir, 1 minute, sir. Sir, let it inauguration be over, sir. Formal, sir, you give permission for formal inauguration and then your address.
I have started with the game.
Okay.
What should I do? Should I stop now?
Yeah, just for a minute. Let this inauguration be back. You just complete that
Okay.
lighting lamp and
Okay. Thank you.
Now we welcome all members for our lightning video and song.
please. Please make it
Now
fast.
we request our HOD sir, Professor, to start this program. I request our students sign it to have an opening song. Over to you. Sayani.
আগুনের পরশমণি ছোঁয়াও প্রাণে এই জীবন পূর্ণ করো এই জীবন পূর্ণ করো এই জীবন পূর্ণ করো এই জীবন পূর্ণ করো দহন দানে আগুনের পরশমণি ছোঁয়াও প্রাণে আমারে দেহখানি তুলে ধরো তোমার ওই দেবালয়ের প্রদীপ করো নিশিদিন আলোক শিখা জ্বলুক গানে আগুনের পরশমণি ছোঁয়াও প্রাণে আধারের গায়ে গায়ে পরশ তব সারা রাত ফোটাক তারা নব নব নয়নের ঘুচবে কালো যেখানে পড়বে সেথায় দেখবে আলো ব্যথা মোর উঠবে জ্বলে ঊর্ধ্বপানে আগুনের পরশমণি ছোঁয়াও প্রাণে এই জীবন পূর্ণ করো এই জীবন পূর্ণ করো এই জীবন পূর্ণ করো এই জীবন পূর্ণ করো দহন দানে আগুনের পরশমণি ছোঁয়াও প্রাণে।
Now we request our HOD sir, Professor VP Parikh, to give a welcome address. Sir, over to you.
Yes. The esteemed chief guest, Professor Shankar Gangopadhyay, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Brainier University, the eminent person in the field of pharmacy, Professor Bandana Patravali, the keynote speaker of this session, the distinguished speakers, Dr. Ambika C. Banerjee, Dr. Vijay Kumar Sipuje, Dr. S.K. Mitra, Dr. Manish Kumar Thimpuraje, my Joint Secretary, Dr. Aishman Ghosh, HOD of Department of Biotechnology, the chairman, moderators of the scientific session, the faculty members of the Department of Pharmaceutical Technology as well as the Department of Biotechnology, the guests, delegates, participants, organizers, and my dear students of Pharmacy and Biotechnology Department. Very good morning to everybody. Hope everybody is fine, safe, and healthy in these situations. At the outset, let me welcome or extend the warm welcome to all of you on behalf of the organizing committee in this webinar on the theme Intellectual Property Rights, IPR, and Industry Academia collaborations. As per the schedule, this webinar is jointly organized with the Department of Biotechnology, Brainier University, because the pharmaceutical technology and biotechnology both are much influenced with this IPR and industry academia interactions. That is why we have decided to jointly organize this one. At the outset, let me individually welcome, first of all, Professor Bandana Patravali, who is the keynote speaker, and he is a professor of pharmaceutics, Institute of Chemical Technology, University of Mumbai, Maharashtra, India. She is also the Vice President, CRS Indian chapter, and is the editorial board member of DDTR, and he edited CRS IC and APTI Women Forum newsletter. Madam, our hearty welcome to you. You are, I know today your this NAC team visit is going on, as we have just mentioned in the morning. And in spite of all these things, because of your interest and love and affection for this Brainware University, you are present here. We are very much grateful, madam, and welcome you. The next distinguished speaker, Dr. Ambika C. Banerjee. He is a corporate advisor, R&D and East India Pharmaceutical Works Limited, Kolkata. He is the head of the research and development, East India Pharmaceutical Works. He is the research manager, head of biotechnology, molecular biology divisions of East India Pharmaceutical Works Limited, Kolkata. He is, along with his chairman of this session, Dr. Ayushman Ghosh, HOD of biotechnology, and the moderator, Dr. Sanjita Das. I, on behalf of this organizing committee, welcome you, sir, in this webinar. Our second session, scientific session 2, Dr. Vijay Kumar Sipuje is one of the experts in the patent. He is the director of Alex Business Solutions in Maharashtra. He is the mentor of change, Atal Innovation Missions, AIM, this Niti Aayog, Government of India. He is a mentor in the Startup India, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. He is the honorary advisor, the National IPR Council Association, New Delhi. Along with Dr. Vijay Kumar Sipuje, the chairman of the session, Dr. Prashant Kumar Chakraborty, and moderator, Mrs. Sipra Sarkar Banerjee. We welcome you all in this webinar. Our third session, scientific sessions, the speaker is Dr. S.K. Mitra. He's a very renowned person in this patent. He's the former Deputy Controller of Patent and Design, Patent Officer, Government of India, and he's a Scientific Officer of Central Drugs Laboratory, Government of India. Along with his chairman, Dr. Sarojit Rai and Mr. Sijan Manna, all of you are welcome to this seminar. And our last session, Dr. Manish Kumar Thimporaju is the HOD of Pharmaceutical Analytical Divisions, Balaji Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Warangal, Telangana. Along with his, the chairman of the session, Dr. Prasenjit Mandal, and moderator, the madam from, I think, biotechnology. So all of you are heartily welcome to this seminar. This seminar on the theme, this IPR, intellectual property rights, and industry academia collaborations. In fact, this is the need of the hours and very current topic, and our university is emphasizing on these aspects. So we feel that let us have a discussion on this IPR as well as this industry academia collaboration or industry institute interactions or tie-up with this industry. Its importance and its applications are immense, no doubt, in the technical education and industry aspects. So I hope in our different scientific sessions, this will be very vividly discussed. I request all the participants to be patient and listen these speeches from the very morning to evening. And our students, I request particularly our students and participants not to leave and be there as per our the scheduled programs. So with all these things, I once again welcome our guests, resource persons, chief guests, delegates, participants, and all these things for this nice day today, and it's a memorable day for this seminar. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for this valuable words which encourages us to continue this program with grand success. Thank you, sir. So this is not just a program, rather it's a responsibility and a culture to support the humanity from all discomforts. And as a pharmacist, we take all the responsibility and work hard with honest towards the patents and medications. Now, we, in behalf of Department of Pharmaceutical Technology, welcome an eminent educationalist, Professor Sankar Gangopadhyay, to give some brief words which will motivate us to continue this program. Sir, over to you.
Okay, so before I talk about something, should I mention that time is ripe on my part to talk about?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because I was interrupted previously, so let me scrutinize whether the time is right for this thing. Okay,
No,
thank
it's
you,
okay.
thank you
No
very
problem.
much for mentioning that time is right for this thing. Okay, uh, okay, very good morning everybody. Hope all of you are physically and mentally okay during this pandemic situation. Take care of the term where. Now you are probably enjoying the present almost near normal situation. So this term is very important. We are approaching incidentally towards the almost near normal situation due to the grace of the Almighty. To tell you very frankly, I'm really feeling honored to address the gathering in this national webinar. The title of the webinar is IPR and Industry Institute Collaboration. The very title of the webinar surfaces the importance of this webinar in the present scenario. This webinar has been organized jointly by the Department of Pharmaceutical Technology, Brainware University, and Department of Biotechnology, Brainware University. At the very outset, probably the term very outset is not appropriate. Rather, I should tell that it is pertinent on my part, on behalf of Brainware University, to extend my heartfelt welcome to all the participants of this webinar. I'm really grateful to the honorable speakers who have spared their valuable time in order to enrich the participants in this area of huge contemporary interest. I also take this opportunity to congratulate the organizers of this important webinar. In fact, I was extremely delighted when I was informed of this thing, that this webinar having this title is going to be hosted by Department of Pharmaceutical Technology jointly with Department of Biotechnology. Again, I do hope that this webinar will provide the ideal platform for needful interaction among the participants so as to generate the flavor of the concerned topic. The participants are expected to be motivated by this webinar to nurture their analytical mindset in this context. So this is very important, that today in this webinar, the momentum in the particular subtopic will be generated. I also like to mention that this momentum, what I have been talking about, needs to be enhanced in future by organizing such webinars frequently. This will pave the way for sharing of professional knowledge among more participants in this emerging area. I don't feel like lengthening my address anymore because more discussions will follow on the topic for which the webinar has been hosted. Conclusively, do hope huge success of this webinar and sufficient enrichment of the participants so that participants become capable of translating the objective of the webinar into practice. Wish you all remain well and safe in this near normal situation. But I do like to remind you that the threats of COVID-19 and subsequent varieties are not yet over. Please take care of this thing. Remain safe and well. Thank you. May God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. As a pharmacist, it is important.
Okay, one interruption. Because of assignment elsewhere, I will have to leave. Please bear with me for reasons beyond control. Once again, do hope huge success of this conference.
Sir, let me introduce the speaker. Just a minute. Sir, I just, it's a happy moment to introduce, sir, our Vice Chancellor, sir, and Professor Bandana Patrovale.
Okay. Good morning, madam. Good morning, madam. Good morning, madam. Have a nice day and enrich the participants. Your expertise, I do think, will motivate them to translate the objective of the seminar into reality. That is very important. That is very important.
Thank you. I try my best.
Yeah. And Professor Ambika Banerjee, is he present in that seminar? Professor
Yes, I am.
Good morning.
Yes, I am.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. I'm grateful that you have spared your valuable time to join the seminar in order to enrich the participants. This is very important. We sincerely require your presence and talk as well.
Dr. Vijay Kumar Sipuje, is he present?
Yes, sir.
Where, sir?
Very good morning, everyone.
Yeah, very good.
Very good morning. Very good morning. You are very much welcome to this seminar. Motivate our young guys so that they can use the objective, the very theme of the webinar into reality. That is very important. That is the outcome we do strive after every now and then.
And
Thank you.
Dr. S.K. Mitra. Dr. S.K. Mitra is present? Dr. S.K. Mitra? Okay, Dr. Manish Kumar?
Sir, I am present, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Have nice day. Have nice day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Have nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Yeah. Fine. Yeah. Sir, I'll request just for a few minutes that keynote speech, I think she will start. our Professor Vandana Patravale, if you can kindly spare just for few minutes. Vivek, proceed. I think request Madam to deliver this keynote address. Our Vice Chancellor is very busy, I know, and Madam also very busy. But still then, I think it's a great moment to listen the keynote speech from Madam. Vivek, proceed.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
As a pharmacist, it is important to become a part of healthcare to serve our best service for better therapy. Here we refer the creation of the mind, such as inventions, literacy, and artistic work, design, and symbols. So, I would like to request the Professor Vandana B. Patravale to address the session. Before this, I would like to share the details of the Dr. Vandana B. Patravale. She is currently a professor of pharmaceutics at an Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai. She has around 30 years of teaching and research experience. She has over 200 paper publications with over 9,000 citations, 22 grand patents, 20 patents in pipeline, and 2 trademark registers. She has published 2 books and 25 book chapters with international publishers. Dr. Patravale has been active in teaching research throughout her career. She has recently been inducted as an independent director of a device manufacturing company and listed top 2% of world scientists in pharmacy. Her areas of research include development of nanocarriers with major emphasis on infectious disease, cancer, and neurodegenerative disorder, medical device development, and nanodiagnostic and nanovaccine. She was awarded Abdul Kalam Technology Innovation Fellowship 2021, Fellowship of Indian Chemical Society 2020, Kukreja Orientation Award 2020, APTI Dr. Manjushri Pal Pharmaceutical Scientist Award 2019, Amrut Modi Distinguished Research Award 2018, and Bill Mellingen Gates Grant Award 2015, Best Pharmaceutical Scientist 2014, APTI Best Teacher Award 2012, Fellowship of Maharashtra Academy Science 2011, and K.H. Gadia Distinguished Research Award 2009. She is Vice President of CRS Indian Chapter, Editorial Board Member DDTR, Editor CRSIC, and APTI Women Forum Newsletter. She is actively collaborating with researchers as well as industries within country and abroad and has completed Indo-Swiss, Indo-Japan, Indo-UK projects. She is executing all major grants from Indian government focusing on product development. She has transferred about 20 technologies to industry, including drug eluting 10 being marketed in more than 65 countries. With this, I request ma'am to share her words, which is more beneficial for us and our participants. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. And of course, at the outset, I would like to thank Professor Barak for inviting me to be a part of this particular national webinar. So really thankful. So do I have my full 30 minutes if someone can confirm?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Thank you so much. And also confirm if my slides are visible.
Yeah, Vivek, you see, yeah.
In the full slide mode. Thank you. So yes, as a theme of this particular webinar is intellectual property rights and industry academia collaboration. Looking at the program, I'm sure that most of the speakers who will follow would focus on intellectual property rights. But definitely these two are interconnected. So what I'll do in my slides is focus more on industry academia collaboration and how we can make use of IPR to really move ahead. I represent Institute of Chemical Technology, which is located in Mumbai, but now it has 2 more campuses. One is at Bhubaneswar, Orissa, and another one in Jalna at Aurangabad. And this is the institute which has given 19 Padma awardees to this nation. So definitely you can really gauge when we enter into these portals of excellence, we are supposed to excel, and automatically Vastu is such which makes us do more and more. Dr. Albert said, Innovation is seeing what everyone has seen and thinking what nobody has thought. So I think this is the philosophy which we need to inculcate in our students so that they lay emphasis on the observations. And it is these observations which will lead to inventions, and obviously then there will be translation too. And this cartoon explains it all. We've been talking in this COVID pandemic about AI, that's artificial intelligence in healthcare. Now look at this. If a kid has to be injected, you know that fear of injection is too much. But can something like what is shown in the slide be used? Can we have something which is like a nano robot talking to the kid and distracting? There is you can see a nano robot giving a sweet so that the mind is getting diverted. Can we have pills which not only go inside and give the contents in site-specific manner, but also will image the part which is affected part? Anything and everything is really possible, what is shown in this slide. So this only emphasizes that we need to have an idea. An idea is the driving force for translation. And who would bring about these ideations? If you read literature, literature is full that it is we at the universities, at the research institutes, hospitals, startups, and biotechs, which can have this idea. It can occur to any person. Having said that, what is then important is just having an idea will keep it on the table, buried in the thesis. That is not what we want. We want to translate it so that it goes to industry and finally it reaches consumer. So obviously, if it is in healthcare, it has to reach patients. But if it is in other industry, it has to reach consumers. And who can help in this translation? It could be tech transfer offices, it could be incubators, could be venture capitalists, anyone. And now government has given us really good forums where all of these can interact with you and do the hand-holding so that the realization of idea can be done. This is a very important slide for academicians to understand. Often when you're writing research grant, you need to write what is your readiness for technology. That is known as technology readiness level. So TRL1 is when you are only ideated. You've identified what is the need. You know what is there in the literature and have actually identified unmet need. Then you need to work in the direction of unmet need. It goes to TLR2, where you work on that idea. You get to know about the pathophysiology of the disease. Understand what is not available in the market. And then see how can you make a difference. So that becomes your hypothesis. Once that hypothesis is generated, you start working. You use design of experiments, you use quality by design paradigm so as to arrive at a product. So that is TLR3. At that stage, you will do all the characterization, optimization, all in vitro characterization, etc. TLR4 is when you are actually assessing safety and efficacy of a drug. So it would be, of course, preclinical studies. So most of us in academic institutes, let me tell you, are working only till TLR4. And then we either transfer the technology to industry, because here onwards, the cost which it takes to convert idea into reality goes on exponentially increasing. So TLR 5 and 6 are early stage validation. where you have to have GLP, GMP facilities. You need to take DCGI approvals if it is a new drug application for phase 1 trial, phase 2 trials, etc. And then later stage validation, where you're using more number of phase 1, as you know, is in healthy volunteers. Phase 2 is in patients. Phase 3 is also in patients. So you're working on your idea to see whether it actually works when it goes to larger set of population. And this larger set of population is not only region specific. At this stage, if you want to market your products in Europe, you'll have to do it in European population too. And after that, once the phase 3 clinical trials are completely successfully, completed, that is when DCGI will approve. If you're working for other countries, say it is US, it will be US FDA. And if it is Australia, it will be MHRA. So it depends on which country you are working in for. And it is only that it will get commercialized after taking 3 consecutive validation batches. And after that also you do not stop, because post-marketing surveillance has to be done. That is phase 4. And in phase 4, if you come across any kind of side effects, you need to revert back and look at what that happened, why that happened. Now, where is the gap? What I have done in this slide is I have put what is the investment level, at the same time the tech readiness level. You will see that, as I mentioned earlier, you are not investing much of money and using, say, industrial and government grants. You can execute your idea and you can take it to proof of concept level. But to reach the private sector, where you are actually doing system development, you're looking at tech transfer, in between there is a gap. And it is this gap which needs to be filled. And it is this gap which actually at ICT we are trying to fill. And most of the institutions have now started with incubation policies, startup policies, encouraging students to become entrepreneurs so that they can take the idea ahead. If you as faculty cannot take it, identify who can do the needful. That person has to be really very goal specific, having the will to go out of comfort zone and see that the idea can be translated. Now in this slide, what I'm depicting is what a typical modus operandi for industry academic interactions. How can you generate money as a university? So what we do at ICT is, by way of industry sponsored projects, could be testing and training, could be consultancy, could be in-house research on which you will be getting royalty. So one by one we'll see all. When we talk about industry sponsored projects, obviously it has to start with university approvals. If any industry is approaching me, I tell them to write a letter to our Dean Research and Innovation, copying Vice Chancellor and addressing the letter either to them or to me, indicating what they would like to do. Believe me, in one day ICT clears that. Once that is cleared, now is the time when we sign CDA with that company, confidentiality agreement with the company, and then work on the proposal. When I say work on the proposal, you have to keep in mind what would be the objectives, major objectives, minor objectives, what would be the timeline which would be required, what would be the budget which would be required. After this stage, once the Vice Chancellor actually or Dean has approved, we don't have to go back to them. It is between the company and the principal investigator where they'll start talking about the budget and the work. So they will finalize the work packages, they'll finalize the budget. Most of the times, they do not decrease the budget, but they may ask for, if I have asked, suppose, 35 lakhs for a project, they might ask, can it be paid in 2 installments? Can it be milestone payments? So such questions, you need to be ready to answer them. At the same time, you need to protect your interest and see that you get the major chunk of the money in the beginning so that project does not stop in between. So once that is done, there's a green signal and then the money comes in ICT accounts office. From there, all the money is available. If it is 35 lakhs, full 35 lakhs is available for PI to use for this particular research project. And of course, work doesn't stop. You start spending the funding. Project would be monitored. Right in the beginning, you have to actually talk to industry people. When can they come to monitor physically? Whether it will be once a month or once a week, or they should come on daily basis. So that depends on the type of project, the duration of the project, and what involvement you want. Now in this pandemic era, we've been holding, in fact, every 15 days meetings. But when it was physical, once a month, they used to come. And of course, it doesn't stop there. Once you have utilized all the fund, you need to give them final report and you need to give utilization of fund. Also, keep in mind that when it is industry-sponsored project at ICT, even if I have asked funding for say 2 years and money remains, that money is available for use in lab over a period of time because it comes from industry. Government, you know, now they have PFMS, so any money which is pending has to go back. This money doesn't go back. We also do get money for testing and training. So if you have different instruments on which you can give training to industry people or to academic friends, it could be at some cost. You could train the students. For example, we have created through Bill and Melinda Gates a grant cell culture lab. And students are getting trained on that. And if students from other facilities do come in, obviously, that money gets generated. Could be money for preclinical studies or also for skill development. You know, companies like L'Oreal, Unilever, and many other pharma companies, when they employ students, freshers, they want us to train them. So their basics need to be revised, and some practical training also they want us to give because they take from varied background. No, people could be chemical engineers, they could be perfumery science people. So we need to bring them all at one level. So we do charge them for this too. Another mode is consultancy. In consultancy, as I mentioned, we can do ad hoc consultancy, that is troubleshooting. That means industry just picks up the phone and it is one-time consultancy. We call it ad hoc. Okay, so here time commitment is hardly any. Time commitment is most when you are giving them consultancy over the product life cycle, which starts from prototype, goes to pilot plant, goes to validation, and then you have to help them in tech transfer too. So maximum money comes here. Believe me, if you want to do justice in a year on an annual retainership, you cannot take more than 2 to 3 such consultancies. I'm doing it so I can confidently tell you because a lot of time does go in these and their expectations are really very high. So at a time when I go and visit, I'm consultant to many companies. So in a day, believe me, in a day, they discuss 12 projects with you. It is not one. So it demands your time. So when they discuss, you need to be abreast of the recent advances which have taken place. You need to give them ideas if they are getting stuck. In addition, it could be for product characterization. For example, someone wants to do muco-adhesion test, and I know that texture analyzer can be used. I know which kind of membranes can be used. So they'll come to me for product testing consultancy. They'll also come to you for patent litigations. You know that in academics, since we read a lot, very confidently by reading patents, we can say whether this is obvious or non-obvious, whether you can invalidate the patent which exists. For this, they need our help too. And then, of course, for technology transfer. Talking about in-house research, you may have your own hypothesis, your own ideas, which you want to give them to industry. It could be in any field, could be pharmaceutical analysis, where you are actually looking at, say, LCMS development of moieties in combination. Peptides nowadays, you know, industry is still not tuned to what could be used for analyzing peptide and peptide mixtures, and now with biosimilars on rise, this is a wonderful area if you're working. You know, since I've been told, this has been arranged by Department of Pharmaceutical Technology and Department of Biotechnology. If you are working in those areas where you are doing fermentation or you are doing cell culture work, and you have come up with, say, cell lines which stand out. For example, glioblastoma. You do not have very good models, preclinical, so people would rely on in vitro cell line data first to screen. If you are developing 3D organs by 3D printing or by any other modes, you can offer that to industry. In our lab, we are working a lot on such modules. You know that if you are developing transdermal delivery systems, you need to do studies through skin. So can we develop artificial skin? If we are developing systems for ophthalmic use, can we develop artificial retina or even artificial BBB? So we do have MTech pharmaceutical biotechnology students whom we give such products and work on the same. So same way, it could be computational delivery, it could be product development, preclinical work, and if you have a hospital set up nearby, obviously you can even take money for clinical trials. Now these are the expectations. You know, industry expects that whatever data they want, we give them quick solutions. Believe me, once you've taken a project, there'll be mails floating every week. So you have to give them quick solutions, and you need to ensure that at all levels you maintain data integrity, which they value the most. One reason why we get most of the projects is because we've signed CDA with them, and in turn we sign CDA with our students so that they know legally they are bound and they cannot manipulate any data. Obviously, industry gets skilled manpower. So whom the students who are trained on a particular project, they would like to take them in. So they do get skilled manpower, and they always will look at market perspective. It's quite possible that they tell you to work on a moiety, but later on they tell you that give us the platform in which any moiety which has similar physicochemical properties can be incorporated. And of course, university expects funding and infrastructure as also equal partnership. We are very shy of asking. If you don't ask, you don't get. So see that you ask for royalty. Typically 1.5 to 2% of their profit margins you should be getting if you have a patent. Minimum. So why be shy if invention is yours? Also, university looks forward to students getting placed. Most of the time, university people know, I have seen my academic friends taking something which is feasible. Whereas our group motto is to take up challenging projects. By doing that, we learn a lot. So obviously, timelines have to be kept in mind, but you need to move fast forward. So this is how you get started. You identify a disease area. If it is your own project, if the company is coming to you, they do this work for you. The first 3 points are done by them. But if it is a new thing which you are doing, identify disease area, look at what is not being done, propose a hypothesis, and then go to QTPP, quality target product profile. Put this really well on the paper, then have the regulatory plan. Then, of course, you go through preclinical, chemistry, manufacturing, and control details they would want. Many times, industry do come to you even for documentation because you have access to a lot of database. So can you make dockets for them? And if you can, they'll become your regular visitor, especially the small scale and medium scale companies will come to you for that. And then it goes to evidence generation, real world evidence. And this is a iterative, reiterative cycle which goes on. So this slide depicts what are actual key drivers. If you've done some lab scale work and you want to see that it goes to patients, it has to be novel. And I'm sure my other colleagues during the day will lay a lot of emphasis on novelty. And same thing we do when the student comes in and joins us for masters and PhD. I tell them only one thing in the beginning. The next 2 years or the 4 years which you're going to spend, see that you can contribute something to your society. So what is the point in doing Me Too research which someone already has done? So see that something you contribute, little bit, be it in testing, be it in product development, anything. But that little something is what we expect. So automatically, first they read the patent claims, specifically the independent claims. And believe me, when our master students have come up with patent non-infringing, they start with patent non-infringing, but many times they have patented. Okay? So they become inventors in the patents. So then you look at the feasibility of the idea. This is very important point because no point doing decorated systems, nanoparticles which are tagged with the ligands, tagged with the diagnostic moiety, tagged with some maps. Finally, our industry is not ready and you cannot scale them up, no use. So right in the beginning, again, as I told you, I talked to them about novelty. I also tell them that should be scalable. And I'm sure, when the patent attorneys will be talking to you, they'll tell you that it should be an idea which industry can take up. Otherwise, what is the use of working on it? No? If not now, many times we've seen that academia is 10 years at least ahead. Whatever I had patented in 1990s is now seeing light of the day. So it takes time, but at the same time, it should be amenable to scale up. So you look at total IP scenario as well as competition. For this, you should know which are the patent sites, which free patents you can look at, USPTO, space.net, maybe patent landscape. Again, my respected colleagues will tell you how to go about doing it. So you need to look at the total umbrella of patents. Many times the micro patent search also has to be done, and for which you can take their help. And then look at how you can modify your product. Now, for example, there's a sublingual tablet existing in the market. Can I make a sublingual spray? So that way, I'm going by 505(b)(2) pathway. But drug is not. So safety data need not be looked at. So you can really move fast in this direction. These are some of the points which we need to ponder. All academicians, all students have to ponder. If you do this exercise, I'm sure many technologies will go to the market. So do we have some hypothesis before we undertake research? Do we work in areas of unmet need? The data which is created is authentic, reliable, and reproducible. In our lab, one student works, writes the SOP, the second student works on the same when they join. And if they are able to reproduce, the first student gets a degree. So this way we make sure that the data is reproducible, because we need to translate data fast. Also, on the university level, we need to look at, are we modifying rules? Are we rewriting rules every time we wish to collaborate? Multinational company comes, a different set of rules. Domestic company comes, different set of rules. That shouldn't happen. So if rules are written very clearly by higher authorities, people lower down will not face any problems. They can just show the rules. Also, do we have ready drafts of confidentiality agreements? Many times, I've seen my academic colleagues asking, do you have draft at ICT? Can you share? MOUs, can you share? When the industry asks you, you can't look here and there. You have to be ready. Similarly, we have to be ready with royalty norms, IP norms. There are many industries who want exclusive rights. So you should be ready to either give exclusive rights or back up and say, no, I do not want to go ahead in this particular deal. We should have written rules also for milestone payment. So what is it? The minimum, if university says that minimum 50% should be accepted in advance, and company says we'll give 20%, we can show the rule. So it helps you as a PI, to move ahead. And please do maintain logbooks for each instrument, equipment, and make provisions for data integrity. So go for CFR compliant equipment and instrument. Academia also lacks GMP setups. So now, of course, Maharashtra government at least is looking for and providing grant. Like for example, ICT, we got Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya grant, RUSA grant for GMP setup. I already told you, need to sign CDAs with students so that they understand the legalities, that they are legally bound and they cannot talk anything anywhere. So this has to be done. Also, do take adequate surveys from clinicians' perspective, from all the stakeholders, I would say. So if it is a pediatric dosage form, ask mothers, ask kids, ask pediatricians before you can go ahead and devise your own strategy. Suppose you know that kids like chocolate. So can I put my medicament in chocolate form? It's still unit dose. But will that be acceptable? Ask everyone. Mothers might say no. So if 90% mothers say, no, I would not like to give chocolate to my kid, that idea is not going to work. I'm just giving you an example. And most of it, no, as academicians, can we dissolve our ego? It's high time we dissolve our ego. Either we have to go to industry or industry has to come to us. If we sit with our ego, even if you have 10 different patents, they are not going to come to you. This slide depicts the top 5 corporate academic collaborations. You can see that none of this is what I would say from India. So it's time that we have many such on the world map from India. So we as academicians have to bridge this gap. So we have to have basic foundation, yes, but we need to have strategic initiatives which can impact the university in long term. So inculcate collaborative culture as far as possible. If you have global exposure, it would help because you understand, how they are working, and that helps you. So for this need is private organizations, government agencies, academia, industry, all come together. Right now, we are spending hardly any percentage of our GDP. Most of the developed countries are spending 2%, we are at 0.3%. So that says it all. But no, recently, we have developed a lot of innovation policies. And I would request my academic colleagues to go through this policy, Science, Technology and Innovation Policy 2020, which is decentralized, all inclusive, I would say, gives lot of inputs. And if you do this, yes, idea can go from bench to bed, for which you need only an idea, of course, investment, which can come in from University also, private universities abroad support their own faculty. They give them seed money. And then once a proof of concept is generated, any government will give you money too. Skill set. And from bed again, if you need to go on expanding the product portfolio, you need to go from bench to bed, again to bench. And as Mr. Ananthakrishnan said, we have to develop world-class science and technology clusters. And this is happening now. Let me tell you, very shortly a bio cluster would come in Mumbai, where ICT, IIT Mumbai, NIRRH, KEM Hospital, TIFR, all are part. So we can use freely facilities from any of these institutes. So need of the hour is see who is good in your area, form clusters and work as a team. Many people ask me, how do we get industry mileage? Since we have transferred about 20 technologies. Initially, of course, I had prepared a brochure and I had sent to N number of industries as to what work we are doing, what facilities we have by email. But now as my patents have gone up, publications have gone up, when I'm networking in conferences, typically I've seen, Indians club together, Asians club together. See that you network with colleagues all over the world, specifically when you're getting global exposure. Meet, talk to them, complement each other's area. That's the way to go ahead. Your own research group, because now at the end of 30 years, I can boast that many of my students are CEOs, directors of companies, right? So they become fund generating units for your own lab. So you should have a family culture. That's why our VBP group, I call VBP family. Keep in touch with them. Small gestures really would go a long way. And of course, word of mouth. Once one industry comes to you, they have confidence, you've given them timely manner a product, others would really come running to. So VBP research group or the family, as I said, we have many interests. We are working majorly, as mentioned, in cancer, infectious diseases, and Alzheimer. We have many thrust areas and all are complementary, and all the thrust areas we are working. Now look at this. More than 9,000 citations. If you look at government grants, our group has got 5 crore 45 lakhs 29,379. This was till 3 months back. Figure has gone up. So is it only government grant that we have fetched? No. Even from industry, we've been able to do at least half. More than 2.5 lakhs now. So is it that now that I'm professor, I'm not doing anything? You'll see that I have done most of my work since appointment as professor. Be it with respect to research articles, review articles, we are writing. We already have 2 books with international publisher. This year, this figure says 2, but I have signed now 3 memorandum of agreements, 2 with elsewhere, 1 with CRC Press. Patents, 30 are granted, 20 are filed. And this includes US patent, European patents, because I'm working with industry. So many places, through consultancy input, we have transferred the technologies. And that's how about 20 technologies have gone, let me tell you. So I'll just probably, in want of time, very quickly take you through a case study wherein we started with in silico. I have labeled it as VBPN because the student has got Gyati Award from President of India. So he's startup. Okay, so he's established a startup. So we started, I'm just telling you the modus operandi. So molecule was not existing, natural source, we created it, docked it against different receptors for Alzheimer's because that was the unmet need. We did some testing before we moved on to preclinical because Animal Ethical Committee did not agree to directly give so many animals. So A beta fibril, if it is there, reacts with thioflavin T and gives you fluorescence. A beta fibril is responsible for Alzheimer's. So our hypothesis was, if my BBPNA is going to act on A beta fibril and break it, the fluorescence should decrease. So it did decrease the fluorescence. And can be seen by SEM also, scanning electron microscopy. You can see how the tight plaque looks. And when it is treated with VBPN, these cubic surfaces totally disappear. So this gave us enough confidence. We formulated, we looked at the brain efficiency, which was more than 4, meaning 400 times more than the natural moiety. We did all the preclinical studies to establish its safety, then took up pharmacodynamic studies for efficacy, which were monitored by video so that there's no bias. So when we did this behavioral studies, we saw that the results which we have got are comparing with donepezil, which is gold standard. But what is the problem with donepezil? Over a period of time, patients will develop resistance. With our moiety, that doesn't happen. Not only that, this is a slide which I like to highlight. It is said that neurons, once degenerate, do not regenerate. But our moiety, which is from herbal source, is able to increase. You can see that when A beta is given, brain-derived neuronal factor goes down. And when the treatment starts, you can see with our formulation, brain-derived neuronal factor increases. Same way, the inflammatory cytokines also decrease, indicating that we can give this moiety even for prophylaxis. So if I can sell this product as a nutraceuticals, and that's the basis of startup, if I can sell this as a nutraceutical, people take it on a daily basis. One side, my sale is increasing. Second time, neurons don't degenerate. This is another study which is for malaria, and malaria also affects about 3.2 billion people. I'm moving little fast. We need to go by WHO guidelines. It gives us a combination. But for cerebral malaria, you will be surprised to see that mortality is 100%. So there was an unmet need. Current dosage form was artesunate. We thought we'll make artemether and lumefantrine, which is given as oral, as parenteral, because cerebral malaria patients go into coma very fast. So we did all the studies and we proved that parasite count with our formulation remains at 0. Even when cerebral malaria model we tested, you can see that with marketed formulation, there was definitely recrudescence seen, but with our formulation, no change in parasitemia. Granted patent, and in fact, you can see that's a very, very broad patent. Nano drug delivery based on combination therapy for treating parasitic infection. So all the parasitic infections using this technology are under the umbrella. We have already given this technology to industry. And this slide actually by way of videos indicates what you can see in red is our formulation, nano formulation, which is loaded with rhodamine. And you will see that whatever granular mass you can see in these is infected RBCs, because RBCs on their own do not have any nucleus. But when it is infected, you will see the nucleus. So when I play the video, it would be very clear that our formulation, which is nanostructured lipid carriers, are going only where there is a granular mass. That means it goes only to infected ones. We've done a lot of study, published a paper, as you can see down, on this particular thing. Not only that, look at the marketed, when treatment is given, the rat C57 have to be used, they remain paralyzed even after treatment. And look at when we have given our formulation, how active the C57 mice are. So this indicates this particular technology really restores the flexibility of arterial vessels, be it in the brain or elsewhere, and that's why we are getting these results. I think with the help of these two studies, I've told you how do you go about at least creating a prototype. For both these studies, we've completed stability studies, we've completed toxicity studies, and toxicity is not only acute, chronic, genotoxicity, carcinogenicity, mutagenicity, all have been done. And we are looking at many things using the same platform, not only for therapy, we are exploring its potential as a vaccine adjuvant, we are exploring its potential as a diagnostic tool too. So since time is short, I will not share those details. During this COVID time, we got Indo-Irish project. Believe me, I was giving oral consultancy from here. And one student who had just finished master's, he was B Farm from ICT. I could identify as in Ireland. Since our labs were closed, I told him to go to the lab there and work on it. And 3 months' time, we came up with a product for foals. These foals, die because of severe dehydration or severe diarrhea, and antibiotics needed to be given. So we came up with a product which does not have antibiotics. It is a blend of clays, prebiotic, and electrolytes. And you'll believe my words, the company said that they haven't seen a suspension as smooth as this. And that's the advantage which you as graduates have, because we in the pharmacy field give you such a training. So excellent product now being marketed in Middle East, and this year it will be in UK too. And under Startup India collaboration also, we have collaborated with a company in the field of dental alginates. And you'll be surprised that this dental alginate was getting imported. So we have made a product with a difference. What is the difference? All the products were in big bags of 1 kg, 2 kg. We said we'll give sachet also, so that dentist has to open 1 sachet at a time. What happens is when you use this sachet, the product absorbs moisture. So you use it for 3-4 times, rest of it has to be thrown. So it gives them value for money. Also, we've indicated, put 2 indicators in it. So once a dentist mixes, they get a color. They know now they have to stop mixing. When they put it on the basically teeth, on teeth it will again change color. So it indicates now is the time to remove it out. So such a product did not exist. And yes, you do have Prime Minister's Fellowship as one way of generating money. BIP programs are other programs which are there to generate money. So you need to just look at government sites. It is flooded with what opportunities you have. So you can write proposal in any of these areas which I have indicated on the slide. For biotech people, see that biosimilars and stem cells, bioinformatics, diagnostics, which can use CRISPR technology, therapeutics can use CRISPR technology, siRNA-based gene delivery, agriculture is not left behind, and of course industrial biotech too. If you can generate something from the waste material, that's need of the hour. So a lot of work can be done, and generally, call of proposals come. So next one, I'm sure 31st March would be too soon, but definitely you can submit by 31st July some proposals in this category. And these are some of the technology platforms from our lab, which we have marketed. And believe me, when I started, it was seed money of 10,000 rupees, which I got from ICT. So we worked on simple technologies, and on those simple technologies, I went on building platforms. It required only magnetic stirrer. I have worked on SMEDs in 1991. People are working now, right? So now we have transferred very recently Fe nanotechnology to a European company, wherein we are able to entrap hydrophilic moieties into lipophilic carriers. These are some of the tech transfers which we have done. About 8 devices have gone on the market. Majorly, they are drug-eluting stents, but we've also given intrauterine device to WHO market. These are some nano-based products which are already in the market. The vaccine is in fact phase 3 trials even for COVID, and a very recent one I have already shown you, Tufal as well as the dental alginate. So with that, I would like to thank each and everyone for giving me this time to share some of my thoughts, which I believe will help you go a long way if you really practice them. And I would like to thank all our major collaborators, be it from industry or be it from government agencies. Yes, in the VBP lab, we work with this motto of Swami Vivekananda, and we focus. Once one particular project is taken, we really focus. And this is our VBP family. You can see a very, very good group. Whenever it is, they can work as individuals. There are some who want to be part of the team when industry projects come. They volunteer themselves. It's not that I have to tell them, they volunteer. So very great group I have, I must say. Everything, whatever you saw is because of them. And I would end with Sir Albert Einstein's quote that imagination is the highest form of research. And as our ex-director, Professor Sharma used to say, that for generating ideas, you do not need any budget. So see that you work on it. And as our current Chancellor, Professor Mashelkar says, convert the knowledge, the research which you've got, translate it. So that way your research will create definitely monetary benefits for the society, for the institute, and so on. So with that, I would like to stop here, and I'm open to any questions which you might have. Sorry for the delay, sir. I hope there was no network issue right in between.
No, ma'am. No problem. No problem. Thank you very much, ma'am. Yes. Anybody, any questions? Anything?
It's not a question, but I think, is it our Vice Chancellor sir is there or not? But extremely informative and useful and very appropriate your idea and direction to this Brainier University. I think I am along with Dr. Aishman Ghosh, head of this biotechnology department. Sir is there. I think, sir, can you invite Professor Bandana Patrawale some other time to our university and give some idea that projects from the different area, and we know that her contribution, particularly in the pharma and biotech, enormous, and what she has presented is extremely useful and inspiring for our community.
Sure, sir.
Dr. Aishman, would you like to say something?
I feel the keynote address today has perfectly set the tone for the remaining of the session that is to follow. I was very attentively listening to the second part of our theme, which Dr. Patrawale touched upon, that is industry-academia collaboration. She comes from a very reputed laboratory. It's one of the landmark labs in India and institutes in India, which is known for its innovation part. We certainly have our challenges working within the confines of a private university, which are a bit apart from the government part, but nevertheless, the theme and the essence remains the same in both the situations. And therefore, I feel this, whatever Madam has shared with us, her vast experience, a glimpse of her research, is truly praiseworthy and definitely something that we should inculcate and follow.
Exactly. Prashanto sir, you will tell something? Mr. Chakraborty.
Yeah. Madam, I've got a couple of questions. One question is that the lipid nanoparticles, actually we have worked in Cadila because you have selected me as Senior Vice President R&D there in 2008 in presence of Dr. Kshatriya and Dr. Rajiv Modi. So after that, we started working on the EMARC project, EMARC UK project on an ophthalmic nanosuspension formula on the latanoprost tronethamine. So we have seen there the system is very much unstable. As you show in some slides back, that the coalescence and the decoalescence is constantly happening. So there is a very difficult situation to attain the thermodynamic equilibrium for that coalescence decoalescence situation. We have tried, we have done also some satisfactory thing and marked as accepted also, but still I'm not very happy about that coalescence decoalescence reversible exchanges, which is constantly happening under the microscope. And if one can see through microscope, then he can understand what I'm actually saying. So my question to you, madam, that how that system can be stabilized satisfactorily.
Currently, actually, we have signed a CDA with the industry and we are working on similar nano suspensions, but I'll give you general leads there. This is one of the moiety, and it's a US-based company with which we are working on N number of ophthalmic nano suspensions. One is the instrument matter, the equipment which you have used matters. So it's not always high pressure homogenizer Nero savvy which will come to your advantage. So you need to look at either microfluidizer, or you have to look at even Avestin's, Avestin multiplex as a unit to give you the answer. Second thing is that we need to look very critically at the stabilizers which would be used. So obviously these products are in the market, so you need to study their patent very well. And one thing which I have seen is what we academicians do not do is look at the contact angle and solubility data. So select, since it's a suspension project, select stabilizers in which the drug is not soluble, should not have any solubility.
Yeah.
And secondly, the wetting should be really good so that when you are actually homogenizing it, the stabilizer sort of forms a coat over the surface of these nanoparticles so that they do not aggregate. I think these two leads we can give you in about, also let me tell you about 10 trials, at least this particular entrepreneur, we could stabilize. 10 trials.
Thank you. My second question is that what are the regulatory considerations in India for the startup projects in particular? Because we have seen that during the vaccine development in corona times, the PMS study has not been done in any cases. And because of the time pressure and other pressure, it has been introduced in the market without those studies, and sometimes it has been shortcutted also. So what is your take on that?
So, sir, what happens is if you also see, IND, there are 3 types of INDs, right? And one is emergency IND. So when there's nothing existing, government says at least if you have some preliminary data, which says that it might work, put it in people. So I think it was an emergency situation and it had to be done. But I agree with you that it should not deter us from doing long-term studies and coming up with data which might be useful maybe later sometime. So ideally, it should go through total small animals, little larger animals, including mammals, and then go to human beings. But it had to be foregone because of emergency. So if you look at the treatment IND which is there, which is a typical case, you have to work in a systematic way and take it through. So I agree with you. In this case, we were in haste. And as a result, also we have lost many lives, let me tell you, because anyone and everyone were given. And I personally know many people we lost. So it would not have resulted if we had full data. If this is the condition, what happens with Covishield, what happens with Covaxin, and for that matter, any other vaccine. So yeah, regulatory path is a long path. It has to be followed before something can come in. But rather than the full race getting demolished, I think that decision was taken that we go ahead with that.
Particularly in AFI area, that is adverse effect following immunization area. That part is to be seen in a more rigorous and rigid way. That's what I feel.
Right. So that's the reason, no, sir, I always feel that we as academicians have to look at our traditional wealth. You saw how Ayush therapy has worked. I mean, all of us, believe me, I was in Mumbai all this time, and Mumbai was the worst affected. You know, Maharashtra was affected the worst,
Yes, yes.
Mumbai in particular.
Yes.
So it is only by taking those traditional herbs on a daily basis that we kept ourselves going. So I feel that a lot of study needs to be done in immunomodulatory, basically landscape also, so that we are ready with any such kind of outbreaks, be it from bacterial source or viral source, or for that matter, in fungi. We should keep those studies going. Ayush should support, ministry should support such
Yes.
studies, I believe.
My third and last question, I may be excused for that. Actually, in the line of your last slide, where Einstein has told about the imagination is the actual thing, so that comes automatically about the concept patenting. Concept patenting. Suppose if I develop a concept today that may be materialized after 20, 50, 15 years, 20 years. In case of many Nobel laureates, it has happened like that. So, what is the concept patenting rules and regulation in India as well as internationally?
I think other speakers would be better off talking
okay,
about
madam.
it.
Madam.
But what I have gathered, all of them are saying earlier, I used to believe that idea can be patented, but to patent that idea also some work is required. So otherwise, I'm sure it will go off the floor. So let us ask them, because they are the experts.
Yes, yes. Okay.
In my
madam.
opinion, I won't do justice to this question.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you. Tariq sir, we can't hear you.
Sir, please unmute.
Yeah. On behalf of university, we are extremely grateful to you for showing this brainstorming sessions in this beginning, and you have shown the different pathway of these patents, IPR, and industry institute collaborations, and all these things. Extremely, we are happy. Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. And we'll be in touch with you. And obviously, we'll take the advice from you.
Sure, sir.
Because our university, madam, we are younger. It's 2017 started, and we are just growing. Either in pharmacy or biotechnology, we are developing. So we need at this stage, we need your advice, we need your guidelines, and all these things. Thank you.
I'm available, sir, anytime.
Yeah, Vivek, proceed, please. Next session is getting delayed. Yeah. Vivek.
Thank you, ma'am, for the inspiring talk, which is really acceptable and commendable. Thank you, ma'am. With this, we get to complete one phase of the program. So I request Mr. Brahmaji Chatterjee, sir, to conduct the session. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Vivek, sir. So now we are going to start the second phase of the session. Therefore, I request Dr. Sanchaya Das, Madam, Associate Professor of Breno University, to take the opportunity to continue the session. Ma'am.
Thank you, Brahmajit. Am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Okay. Good morning. This is Dr. Sanchita Das, Associate Professor, Department of Pharmaceutical Technology, Breno University. Welcome to all the dignitaries, speakers, and participants in the first scientific session of the one-day national seminar on intellectual property right and industry academia collaboration, organized by the Department of Pharmaceutical Technology in collaboration with the Department of Biotechnology, Breno University. This session will be enlightened with intellectual property rights role in pharmaceutical industry by the eminent speaker, Dr. Umbikasi Banerjee, former corporate advisor R&D, East India Pharmaceutical Works Limited, Kolkata. I welcome Dr. Aishman Ghosh, head of the department, Breno University, for this session chair. Dr. Ghosh has completed BSc in microbiology in 2009, MSc in biotechnology in 2011 from the University of Calcutta. He has completed PhD from the Department of Neurovirology, National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, Nimhans, Bangalore. He has served the same department as program coordinator of Centers for Disease Control USA funded project entitled providing laboratory support for surveillance of Japanese encephalitis in India during May 2017 to June 2019. During June 2019 to March 2021, he has served the Department of Biotechnology, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India in the capacity of Scientist C. Dr. Ghosh has published several research findings in different international journals of repute and also contributed to WHO manuals use of cell culture in virology for developing countries in the Southeast Asia region and establishment of public health laboratories in Southeast Asia region. Without wasting valuable time, I welcome Dr. Umbikasi Banerjee and handed over the session to Dr. Ghosh. Please, Dr. Ghosh, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. And I really thank you for the introduction. And I welcome each and everyone to this August gathering. It is my privilege to introduce our next esteemed speaker, Dr. Ambika C. Banerjee, who has a vast experience in this field, both in industry as well as academia. Since we are running a little behind schedule, I would not go much speaking about Dr. Ambika Banerjee's achievements, but it is very noteworthy to mention that that Dr. Banerjee, after completing his master's and PhD from the University of Calcutta and Bose Institute respectively, has progressed and served at the Cleveland Clinic Foundation USA, the University of Nebraska Lincoln USA, and also the University of Papua New Guinea. That apart, he is a leading luminary in the field of pharmaceutical industry, currently serving as the corporate advisor of East India Pharmaceutical Works, where he has been attached in various capacities as head of research and development and also research manager and head of East India Pharmaceutical Works from the 1990s. Over to you, sir, for your session.
Thank you, Dr. Ghosh. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It has been a nice experience to have attended your webinar, and really nice. Thank the organizer, particularly Dr. Barik, who contacted me, and also Dr. Ghosh for your kind introduction, Dr. Das, and so on. I think I will, without much delay, I will share my slides. Can you see the slide?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. I'll just make it full screen. Is this okay?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. The topic for this session's talk that I will discuss, I think I will just take you through some slides to traverse a journey from science to industry, which I have personally traversed. Here, my topic is intellectual property rights, role in pharmaceutical industry. Pharmaceutical industry depends on research and development, definitely, but let me first tell you what is intellectual property. Most of you know that, but to have a smooth run, I would like to state that intellectual property refers to a creation of mind, intellect, such as inventions, literary and artistic work, designs, articles, symbols. These cannot be patented. IP, there are various types of intellectual property. I will come to that. But intellectual property refers to creation of mind. Intellectual property is protected by rights under the national laws of a country as intellectual property rights. So intellectual property may be a prose or poem, may be an art piece of art, intellectual property, but to have the right on it, you have to get the right from the government. There are different methods. Patent is one of them. It is granted to the creator of a work or inventor to commercially exploit the creation. This intellectual property and intellectual property right is intensely relevant with commerce. It is very important for industries naturally that develop products from inventions and innovations in the emerging areas like biotechnological, pharmaceutical, and biomedical fields. Pharmaceutical industry is R&D intensive, research and development intensive, and is concerned with the discovery, development, production, quality control, and distribution of products. The products are made for prophylaxis, diagnosis, and therapy. That means the protection, prophylaxis, diagnosis, detection, and therapy, the management of the diseases. So these products, all these are considered as the pharmaceutical products. Just manufacturing doesn't end the duty, the responsibility of the pharmaceutical industry. The product must be available. It is not just sometime ago it was prepared and now it is out of stock. No, it must be available whenever required. It must be affordable within the buying capacity of the citizens, within the buying capacity of the people who need these most, and accessible. It must be available to the remote corner of the country. The company cannot say that we are situated in North India and where we have difficulties in sending the medicine to the South India or the vice versa. No, these are very elementary examples. I say sorry for that. But what I am trying to tell you that the product must be developed, and that development requires research. After the products are developed, these have to be produced, undergo quality control, and distributed to all the parts wherever the demand is, wherever the need is. Drug research is very, very expensive. I should say prohibitively expensive for India. Drug research is highly expensive due to extreme complexity of the drug discovery process. These are high cost of research, development, trials, and regulatory compliance. About 10,000 just to get one drug. It has been customary to consider this chain of events that about 10,000 drugs have to be screened, and that takes about 12 years to 15 years, requiring about $1.2 billion to make sure that the drug is effective, drug is safe, and drug is affordable, and drug doesn't really compete with respect to patent and so on. In a way that it doesn't really come to the point of infringement. I will come to that later on. Long gestation period, yes, some 12 to 15 years time is not short time. Relatively low success rate at the end because you start with 10,000 and you end up with one or even not that. High rate of obsolescence. Even if you come up with a drug successful, but your competitor will come up with a better drug, and your expensive drug that you have, the spending that you have made to develop a drug is soon becoming obsolete. These are some of the risks. So that is why pharmaceutical R&D is expensive and a very risky business activity. Just an idea. My previous speaker, Dr. Patravale, nicely mentioned the responsibilities and the nitty-gritties and so on. Just a graphical representation that about 10,000 compounds are taken to get down through the approval of the Food and Drug Administration. In our case, it is DCGI, Drugs Control General of India. And this has to come through several phases, like first is the elementary screening. That takes almost 4 or 5 years. Then it reduces the number to 250 compounds and about 1.5 years or 2 years. Then clinical trials. Preclinical trials are done on the animals or cell culture. Clinical trials are done on human beings. Phase 1 is with the normal individuals. In phase 1, normal healthy human beings. And the clinical trials 2 and 3 that involve the patients. In 2, some number of 100 number of patients. In 3, a larger number of patients. So these phases require recruitment of the patients, recruitment of the doctors and analysts and so on. A huge workload, a huge requirement of money. So actually the total cost, 1.2 billion or 1 billion, whatever you say, only 10% is spent on the basic research and the remaining 70 or 80% is just spent towards fulfilling the need of the regulatory people. They make sure that the drug is safe, drug is effective, and drug is not really in any way it is detrimental to the health. There are certain stages after the preclinical is done. This investigational new drug application is can be applied, can be made, and after the clinical trial is over, almost in the phase 3, then the new drug application is submitted. So until then, it is not sure whether the drug is new or not, whether the drug satisfies all the conditions or not. Then the new drug application is submitted. FDA or the DCGI reviews all the results all through, and then finally takes the stand whether to approve or not. And even after approval, that means the company is allowed to commercialize. That the FDA also keeps an eye and looks for the results from the phase 4 post-marketing surveillance and any side effects, any difficulty posed with the consumers of the drug and so on. Industrial research, therefore, which takes up a lot of money, therefore must be market-driven, must be need-based, and must be target-oriented for generating adequate return on investment. That huge sum of investment must be returned, otherwise the business cannot go, otherwise the drug company cannot really survive, and research will be hampered. Innovation is the driving force, therefore. In order to get the technology for producing a product, raw materials has to be converted to the product by using technology. Who will give the technology? The technology comes from the knowledge about the research and development. Research and development requires money, and that money the company or the sponsors and so on initially gives. But if it can be suitable and effectively converted into the required knowledge, essential knowledge, then the technology can be successful in producing a product which was desired. Not only just desired, that was actually designed from the market intelligence, which is the need of the market. Depending on the research and development department takes up the project. We have heard in the previous lecture how coordinate is the whole series of events. So market need gives us the input from the market intelligence, and we take up the project in R&D, and we get the knowledge. We convert the knowledge into technology. Technology produces the product in small scale, and then it has to be scaled up and meet the need. So innovation, which gives rise to the technology, is intellectual property. It must be protected. Patenting provides protection of an invention as intellectual property right. Intellectual property must be protected in the form of intellectual property right. In the case of invention, it is patenting. In the case of the literary work, it is copyright. In the case of business symbol, it is trademark, and so on. However, we will focus more on the patenting side. Patenting means obtaining the legal right to exclude others. Look, patenting means obtaining the legal right not just to work, just to exclude others from the use of an invention without the consent of the owner of the invention. Anybody cannot, by law, cannot get into the technology which has been awarded with the patent if that anybody does that, then the nation will take step. He will be punishable. He or so. So that's how the inventor can protect the invention. I will come into that. A greater number of patents, therefore, would indicate a higher inventive capacity of a country. Intellectual property are of various types. I indicated in a few sentences. There are several. One is patent. Patent is with invention. Trademark with symbol of business. Copyrights with respect to the literary work, artwork. Industrial designs, the design of the material, design of the injection syringe, design of a vial, design of a computer. These are the designs which are industrialized. Geographical indications are that have the those are for the items from a definite geographical origin. That items should have some kind of quality attributable to the geographical origin. A simple example is Darjeeling tea. Tea can be produced anywhere, but Darjeeling tea is a special flavor. Similarly, there are Bangalore silk, there are Mysore sandal, and so on. Geographical indications. Layout designs like the mobile chips, like the integrated circuits, confidential information, something which you do not want to share with others. This is your own. This is proprietary. And protection of new variety of plants, that means the plants cannot be patented in India, but newer plants can be developed. So some kind of intellectual involvement is there. That is why government under the new laws have taken up protection of new plant varieties, which is not exactly patent, but some protection is given to the developer. Patents are a way of encouraging inventors not to keep their invention secret. That is the essential one. Patents are a way of encouraging inventors not to keep their invention secret. Since the industrial application of an invention also can be profitable to the inventor may wish not to share. But if it is not shared, then how can the society get the better effects from the invention? That is why government has taken the step. Patents are a way of encouraging inventors not to keep their invention secret, since the industrial applications of an invention, although can be profitable to the inventor, can be utilized to meet the needs of the public in the country. The basic idea is that in a detailed specification, look, the inventor is disclosing it. The basic idea is that a detailed specification published as a patent document, the inventor discloses the invention, including the claims of the invention in a specified manner to the government, none other than the government, the patent office, in specific formats. On the merit of the invention, that document is examined. On the merit of the invention, the government grants the inventor a right for its protection from copying and unfair competition. Nobody else can do that unless a party to the patent. This takes the form of the grant of a patent for invention to the inventor through the patent office of the government. The inventor thus gets a limited monopoly for the period. Monopoly is a bad word. Monopoly actually prevents all development. So it is a limited monopoly so that the owner can get back some of his spending, and that is usually called term. After the term is over, normally, naturally, it was 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. Now under the new law, it is 20 years for chemicals and pharmaceuticals. So the inventor gets a limited monopoly for a period, but after this period, the invention may be freely used by the public. It is open document. A patent is therefore, let us put our attention to these few words. Patent is a legal right conferred by the state, I mean government, to an applicant or inventor for disclosing an invention to make, use or sell the invention for a limited period. That means government allows the inventor to make, use and sell the invention for a limited period. The criteria of patentability is that, excuse me, it must be invention, not a discovery. It must be man-made creation of something. It must be non-obvious. It must be new. It must have novelty. It must be useful so that it can be put into industrial applications so that people may get that, the society may get that. But at the same time, the invention must not be falling in categories specifically declared as non-patentable under the relevant patent law in a country, like explosives, like nuclear weapons, like any of the weapons. So in that case, patent is not for. And all the above criteria are essential, not just satisfying one or two, all those. There's definitely steps in patenting, just trying to take you through. You have to file a patent application. Nothing is available, nothing is obtainable without applying. So here also, you have to apply for a patent. If you have come up with something that you know that it is new and it is doable, you go to the patent office or look for the patent application form, fill up, and then submit with all the requirements. The patent office will publish the documents for obtaining the idea from the public, whether it is a repeat, whether it is already in the market, and so on. If there is any opposition, that opposition is allowed. That is pre-grant opposition. After making sure that no pre-grant opposition is there, it is subject to examination. The patent office has got experts in most of the lines, and if it is required, they can also seek external help. It is examined, and if it passes through those parameters, then the patent is granted. But even then, it is not sure. After the grant of patent, someone may come and prove that it was already in the knowledge. There may be escape of knowledge. There may be some overlooking, even on the part of the patent office. But if the proof is there that it was already available, the information was already available, that patent will be withdrawn. If the patent is everything all right, then also it is not certain that you will enjoy unless you pay the fees. You have to pay fees for 20 years. Then only you can avail of your rights, intellectual property right with respect to invention. Patent information is very, very important. It is not a secret. It is meant for public knowledge and use. Actually, we know that journals and books, those are the sources of knowledge. But the patent documents are more rich in information than these books and journals. Because what is found experimentally found to be working in the laboratory, if it has got any scope of being patented, the investigator doesn't publish. They go for patenting. So the patent gives you a first-hand knowledge, and after the patent is decided whether it is granted or not granted, is the open document in the literature, so it can be published, and then that publication comes into the journal, and after 5 years of publication of journal, then the book comes. So if anyone is keen to contribute to the knowledge about the patenting and so on, one must definitely go through the patent base, or everything is available by virtue of the webs and by virtue of the online system. So you can actually look for the US patent, British patent, Japanese patent, Indian patent, and so on. It's a vast resource of technical information which helps to gain an information base. And publication of the patent specification is an integral and essential part of the patent system in the world over. Whatever you wish to patent, you have to disclose it. Before patent, don't disclose it. Don't disclose it to anyone. Because in the objection period, someone may come and say, well, this discovery was described in such and such webinar, or such and such seminar, or such and such article, and so on. So make sure that you do not disclose until and unless you submit an application to the patent office. After that, you get 1 full year to complete your patent related documents, filing, and so on. And then after that 1 year, you will know whether your patent has been granted or not. If it is granted, then your previous publication, after the submission of the patent application, your previous publication will not be considered as detrimental to the patent system. What I mean that if you want to publish, you publish after you submit your patent application. That is the first thing. But at the same time, an inventor is not bound to patent an invention in order to exploit it. Sometimes it may be better to keep the invention confidential as a trade secret. I think all of you know that Coca-Cola formula is still a secret. It is not patented yet. Once you patent, then other people will get a step to develop something akin to that. But trade secret has a difficulty that trade secrets may often leak out over time. Coca-Cola has not allowed it to leak. There are various ways how to prevent the leak. But it's very, very difficult.
এদিকে সান হয়ে গেছে
Any problem with anyone? Hello. I think
আর কাল রাতে
I think there is some.
হ্যাঁ আজকে মনে হয় থাকছে
Is there any problem?
I would request Payal Chakraborty to please mute yourself.
Thank you. Sorry for going back to the screen. Okay, I'm trying to go back again. Is it visible? Is this visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, good. Confidential information is a general title, covering trade secrets, know-how, proprietary information, commercial information, including pricing, marketing policies, names, attitudes, customers, etc., and also the technical things as well. So one must take best precautions to prevent them from leaking out and becoming public knowledge. Not every knowledge has to be patented. Patenting means it requires a proof, and it requires the conversion, it requires the making of a thing, maybe mechanical, maybe electrical, maybe chemical, and so on. An idea cannot be patented. An idea can only be written down and subject to copyright. Idea cannot be patented. Trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights agreement came into vogue when most of the countries under the World Trade Organization signed. India was one of the first signatories, I think, in that. And World Trade Organization in 1995, they brought this motion that all the science and technology information that are being patented should follow some norms. Different countries have different rules, but they should come to a platform. They should come to a minimum standard. And the largest international economic organization with 164 member states that regulates and facilitates international trade between nations. The TRIPS, the trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights agreement, that has defined that intellectual property is intangible. It cannot be touched. It cannot be kept in a pocket. It cannot be stored, except in the case of idea and a document. And document must be calling for some kind of registration. It has the character of a property. After the registration is done, it is IPR. It has the character of a property. It is recognized by national and international laws. It can be transferred and licensed like any other property. It is against any wrongful expropriation. It can be sold. It can be purchased, provided it is registered as intellectual property right. Because of this competition, India also faces competition in the global scenario. Now the world is open economically. Global competition is there for Indian pharmaceutical sector. With respect to certain things, IPR protection, the IPR law has to be similar, not exactly same, but similar. That must comply with the TRIPS. Then investments, infrastructure, research and development, technology, productivity, quality, marketing, production cost. What I mean that with respect to all these parameters, India must have a comparable status to the developed countries. If not, then by innovation, they should try to find out the niche where India's talent can contribute to the research and development or technology or productivity or quality or marketing. These are the important areas. Production cost and IPR protection, these are subject to the intellectual property, because production cost can be lowered, not compromising the quality, but by improved technology. So India has to ensure economic viability for all its operations. If we look into the technological advancement in the pharma research, in the last century, even in the beginning, 1900, the drugs were based mostly from the traditional drugs from the plants. Then as science advanced, physics, chemistry, biology, then came biochemistry, then came molecular biology, and so on and so forth. Then the niche area, the focus arena shifted. When enzymes were found to be playing a very major role, then the pharmaceutical research also concentrated all their efforts to find out the good enzymes that should benefit mankind and the animal world as well. Receptors, when the receptors were recognized and were found to be playing a very important role, not only with respect to hormones, but also other information molecules inside the cell biological processes, the receptors became the emblem. The recombinant drugs, with the advent of the genetic engineering technology and hybridoma technology, the recombinant drugs became important, and the pharmaceutical products included the recombinant drugs as well. Then the science advances into genomics and gene therapy. Well, those are in the experimental stage. Genomics has helped us a lot, not only the basic science, not only the biotechnology, that is the application of the science into the understanding and into serving the needs of the body, not only that body, but also the environment as well. The genomics has contributed a lot, but gene therapy is still in the experimental stage. I think it will take more time, more experiments, and more certainty about the results. Genomic revolution, no doubt, has been a key factor for driving the future developments through modern biotechnology, a multidisciplinary subject. Modern biotechnology is a multidisciplinary subject. So is pharmaceutical science. That's a multidisciplinary subject. And biotechnology has evolved from the fusion of biological science, physical science, engineering science, information science. The list is growing. Material science and nanoscience and so on and so forth. And they're all, this fusion, this modern biotechnology is driven by a commercial outlook. If the commercial outlook is not there, biotechnology will not exist. It will be just bioscience. The difference between bioscience and biotechnology is that a commercial outlook is there. And innovative stuff with respect to the production of something useful for the society or the planet. That is important. Because science is basic research. Science is opening the window to newer areas. But the technology means taking the cue from the basic science into the production of something. So if the basic research is not allowed to grow, technology will not grow. Some people may say that technology is important, more important than science. No, just the other way around. Science is more important than the technology. First, then, without wasting time, let science be flown into the river of technology and irrigate the society with the important stuff from the technology. The future of drug discovery depends on understanding the genetic basis of the disease. The genetic basis, not all diseases are genetic, but there are diseases which are genetic. There are diseases which are genetic in the sense that mosquito-borne malaria, the malaria gene is there, and that is being carried with by vectors. There are predisposition of diseases. Some people are affected with some kinds of disease, like infectious disease, later than others. That means some kind of immunity is there. So understanding the genetic basis of the disease is very important. And a better understanding of the biological systems as a whole leads to a dramatic increase in the targets of the drug development, like immunology. Immunology, particularly in the last couple of years, a renewal has come up into the knowledge, not only the bookish knowledge, but also the everyday knowledge about the immunity with respect to the coronavirus infection and so on. So this is very important that as science advances, we know more about the genomics. As science advances, we know more about the biological system. But it's the diseases that prompts the scientists to look back. What is the reason for the disease? What kind of remedy can be designed for that? So that is why it is a multidisciplinary subject. The 20th century was the golden age for the discovery and synthesis of chemical entities, drugs and medicines by the brilliant chemists and other scientists. The present century is seen as an era of drugs from biomaterials, particularly from biotechnology. The reason is clear. Perhaps the greatest beneficiary of the advancement of biotechnology has been the pharmaceutical industry. That's what I was trying to say. And the result is biopharmaceuticals. Those are based on modern biotechnology, particularly recombinant DNA technology, and the other is hybridoma technology. Recombinant DNA technology has enabled the production of not only the existing proteins, but also newer proteins as well. Insulin was the first recombinant protein approved in 1982. This was followed by other proteins, peptide hormones, enzymes, antibodies, and further modifications. Monoclonal antibodies, they are coming from the hybridoma technology. They're the largest and fastest growing category of biopharmaceutical proteins world over. Important applications are in the cancer field, immune disorders, and infectious diseases. Recombinant vaccines are also very important contribution from the biotechnology, particularly the recombinant DNA technology, and that is against hepatitis B, influenza, and coronavirus. That we have seen. It is amazing that within a few months of noticing the onset of disease, the line was chosen. Within a year, vaccine came up. Whether the vaccine has been trialed that is a different thing. But that vaccine had to be used, and we got good results out of that. Now, systematic results, systematic experiment is needed, no doubt about it. IPR occupies a very important position in both technical and business considerations in the pharmaceutical industry. Technicals involves the laboratory research, basic technical involves the industrial research that is being done at a larger scale. With an object to offer better health care for millions, the innovations in pharma industry are ever increasing beyond the lab. Definitely innovations in therapeutic approaches, then drug delivery systems, then marketing research, marketing practices, resource mobilization management. Innovation is everywhere. Anything new that is doable, that contributes to the commercial activity of the organization is an innovation. Innovation cannot be patented unless it is qualifying all the qualities of an invention. There's a difference between invention and innovation. Invention can be patented. Invention is with respect to science. Innovation is always with respect to commerce and the business. That is innovation. Pharma industry in global competition, just to give you an idea, a recent estimate got from 2020 figures and so on. The global pharma market is 1.27 trillion. That means 1270 billions with annual growth 5 to 7. India is not doing bad. India has got a very low value, definitely 42 billion only. It is 14th by value worldwide, but it's growing. It's growing 20% by volume and 3.5% value. Now, what is the difference between volume and value? I would like to elaborate here that it is 14th by value, but third by volume. This is because the Indian medicines are cheaper. That means with the same volume of drugs, we can sell it at a lower price than the first world countries. That is, so our success, technological success, relies on this figure, the 14th by value. Even with 14th by value, we can achieve third by volume. So our technological stand is in the volume. Our commercial stand is by value. So we have to definitely bring those to international levels. Indian pharma sector supplies, look, even at that, supplies more than 50% of the global demand for various vaccines, 40% of generic demand in US, and 20% of all medicines in the UK. In the recent cry for the vaccines, we have learned from the newspaper and the other media and so on that India is a very, very big seat of making the vaccines all over the world. Not just Corona time, it was like that. And the domestic pharma industry includes a network of 3,000 drug companies and 10,000 plus manufacturing units. Global biotech market is not really very small. It is 753 billion and 18% annual growth. It is less than the global pharma market, but pharma market includes 753 billion. So is the Indian biotech industry. It is small, definitely 63 billion. That was in 2019, but it is growing at a rate of 16.4% cumulative annual growth rate. And biopharmaceutical is the largest segment that contributed to about 58% in India. So India is not in a very bad shape. It is taking up. There are other problems which have to be mitigated, and gradually we see the results. Pharmaceutical industry is R&D intensive, where innovation is the driving force. To keep pace with time and strengthen R&D, that's what we have been talking about. It needs competition, not really protection. It needs competition and get your patents protected. Innovation, you innovate and cross the financial barrier, technological barrier. And so you have to protect the intellectual property protection. So competition, innovation, and intellectual property protection. And moreover, more effective partnership between academia and industry and the government. That is the need of the day, need of the time.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful session. We would be happy to welcome a few questions.
Sure. Sure.
So anyone with a questions?
I think Dr. Mitra has to turn off the. Okay. Dr. Mitra has to turn off. If there is any question, I don't have any problem. That's really nice. Thank you for your patience. I thank you all.
No questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you, Dr. Ambikasi Banerjee sir, for delivering the excellent speech. Really, it was very much courageous and informative. I also want to thank respected Chairman Dr. Aishman Ghosh sir, moderator Dr. Shunchaya Das madam for this session. Now I would like to request our technical team to present the certificates of the respected speakers of the session.
Dr. Mitra,
Yes, yes.
Okay. Very nice. Yeah. Okay, I'll listen to you.
Yeah.
I am in the session also.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you for giving us.
Okay, proceed to next session.
Thank you. So as we need to move forward in the session, because already in the session is the peak and more information and lessons are waiting for us. So I would like to request Mrs. Sipra Sharkar Banerjee madam, Assistant Professor, Brainerd University, to take the session. Ma'am. Chitra madam, are you there? Sorry for the delaying, sir.
Sipra madam.
I think somehow madam got disconnected. Madam is joining. So sorry for delaying, sir.
Okay.
Now, ma'am, over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon to respected HOD of the Biotech Department, respected delegates and respected colleagues of my department. So I would like to welcome everyone to the second session of the scientific session that is inaugurated by the Dr. Prashanta Kumar Chakraborty, and the scientific session will be done by the Mr. Shiva Puja. Now I would like to highlight some information about Mr. Prashanta Kumar Chakraborty. Sir is a very eminent person. He has completed BSc, MPharm and FIC and MBA. He has many patenting filing with the USA patent and different Indian patent office. He has 29 years of experience in top corporate pharmaceutical industries and 9 years of experience in as associate professor under Macau and Jadavpur University, and he has formulated different products also, and he has medicinal chemistry collaboration with different industry, and he has guided many students publication of book also in the pharmacovigilance. And Sir has completed his MBA and FIC from the different eminent authorities. So I would like to invite Dr. Prashanta Kumar Chakraborty to highlight about Dr. Shiva Puja to inaugurate the session and highlight about Sir. Sir, over to you. Prashanta sir. Vivek sir, Prashanta sir is there or not?
Prashant sir.
I would like to request Dr. Shikta Shankar Banerjee, madam, to continue the session.
Okay, so there may be some technical problem, that's why sir is not available. So I would like to welcome Dr. Shiva Puja. So sir, very welcome to our Benue University, and we are very privileged that you have inaugurated us. And I like to present some of the brief introduction about sir. So he is the director of Paltex Business Solution, a knowledge process outsourcing, and he is the IPR-led and mentor of charge of Government of India's Niti Aayog Atal Tinkering Lab. He is the mentor of Startup India, co-founder of Pharma Literate, and a registered patent agent, that is the Indian Patent Office. He has a pharmacy with LLB degree, and he has 16 years plus experience in pharma corporate, and also from law firm and consultancy. He conducted 100 plus IPR awareness program in different universities, colleges, and different associations, bar associations. So I would like to invite sir to highlight the session with your very valuable topic, and we will be very privileged to listen about from you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Sipra ma'am, for providing the details about introducing me basically. And thank you so much, Brainware University, Dr. Honorable Dr. Barik sir, for providing me this opportunity to present here in this prestigious workshop, wherein we have got, I would say, eminent speakers who have been presenting since morning. And I always feel these kind of efforts are something which in long run definitely helps each of the institution or university to evolve as an institution, as well as especially for the researchers and students, this is something which is very crucial for their career or growth as such. I've been allotted almost 40 minutes time for the session, but just to excuse a reason being that some of the slides that I had prepared have already been covered by Honorable Dr. Ambika Banerjee sir. So I would skip those slides, and I must thank Dr. Ambika Banerjee sir for providing the platform for me to present actually, because he has set the stage for me and I would take it ahead, especially with respect to patents in the context of pharmaceutical academic institutions. Let me just share my screen. Just a quick check if you can see my screen.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Thank you so much. So here I am presenting on patenting in pharmaceutical academic institutions. And beyond my corporate experience since last 5 years, we have been working with a lot of pharmacy colleges, 40 plus pharmacy colleges, and 3 universities for patent filing related activities. This is part of our entire portfolio, wherein we work with the global MNCs based in US, Europe, as well as we are working with a lot of startups, and we are also working with the biggest pharmaceutical industry in India. And all these things we are doing only in the pharmaceuticals field. Basically, I belong to pharma. I'm an pharmaceutics. I work with pharma industry. And when I started this, 5 years back as a venture, my own company, basically, that point of time, initially we had to actually convince the people to get the patents filed for their inventions. But I would say thanks to all the recent activities that are happening at academic institution level, that there is a lot of traction, a lot of sir, request the participants if you can mute them. Yeah. So there have been a lot of activities happening at academic institutions levels, and that is helping us in terms of filing the patents. So when anyone, as a professor or as a individual or a university or as a corporate, they come to us, the very first question we ask them is, why do you want to file the patent? As it was already disclosed in the earlier session, that it creates monopolies. To protect your invention, you need to file the patents. But beyond that, as an academic institution, as Brainware University or any other institution, as a faculty or researcher, generally the answers that we get are, we want all the patent filings for NAC, NBA, NIRF rankings. Many times the professors or the researchers tell us upfront that we are applying for some funding, and therein filing of a patent is definitely going to help us. We have cases wherein people are upgrading their CVs or for the sake of promotion, basically they are filing the patents. For me as a patent agent or an expert, whatever is the reason, at the end of the day, we are moving ahead in terms of our research ecosystem at academic institution. Initially, we may have just number of patents filed, but at some point of time, when we are aware of the entire process, that point of time, we may also have a quality research happening at an academic institution that may definitely need to be protected. And I think that's whatever your reason or your rationale for filing patent, whatever your rationale for attending this webinar, but for me, it is more important, I would say, that you should move ahead into patent filing, basically. Of course, we'll see how to do that, what are the different steps, and practically how do we operate or how do we work. But before that, there are a lot of myths, basically, with respect to patents. These myths are mostly the questions that are asked to me in my all sessions. I've carried out sessions in physical sessions, offline sessions in more than 18 states in India, across pharmaceutical institutions, triple ITs, engineering institutions, the research center, incubation centers, MSMEs, and there are a lot of questions are asked, or there are a lot of myths about patent, because most of the times, we have a very broader horizon of patent rather than how it works practically on ground. When a patent expert or patent agent like me is working, what are those key things we see? We'll try to understand this with these questions, and I put it in the question answer format, and then I'll actually move on to the my session. When should I file patent application? The moment you have a hypothesis ready, you have not carried out an experiment, that point of time as well, you can file a patent application, because we have a first to file system. The one who files first gets the patent. So it is very essential that the moment you have hypothesis, so you can file it as a provisional. I would call it as an advance booking of your invention. You don't need to include all the data. You don't need to include the experimental details in that. This data will be confidential with the patent office. Once you file a complete application, so you have 1 year time within which you generate all the data and then file the complete application. Why should I file patent application? I think I have already covered this question. What data do I need to file a patent application? Most of the times when any academician or a professor comes to us, they actually share us the entire thesis, be it a PhD thesis or a master's thesis. Honestly speaking, we don't need all this data that is required. Actually, the data required for a patent would depend on what you are claiming. In case of a herbal product, yes, herbals are also patentable. In case of a herbal product, the data required would be different from typically what a Ceutics person or formulation patent is concerned. Or for the chemistry person, a new drug or a new process, in that case, the data required would be outrightly different. It all depends on what you are actually claiming. Now, shall I take help of a patent agent for filing? Honestly, patent office doesn't make it mandatory to file to take a help of a patent agent. You as an individual, as a professor or a researcher, can file the patent actually. But then why should you take a help of a patent agent? The reason being that you are a technical expert in the domain. You know your invention really well, but you don't know the legal aspect of the patent document, basically, the way it is drafted. The patent draft is something similar to your research paper, but it is a legal document, techno-legal document. And that's the reason, if you really want to protect, take a help of a patent agent actually. Can I publish my research before a patent filing? Absolutely no. This is one thing most of the academicians make a mistake. If you publish your research, be it your own research paper, it would act as a prior art for you if you file a patent tomorrow. So you file a patent first, and thereafter you can publish the research for sure. Can I commercialize my invention after patent filing? See, commercialization has nothing to do with patents. Patents are negative rights. That means if I get a patent for one product or one herbal product or a new drug, still I cannot commercialize. Reason being, the regulatory requirement, the DCGI, CDSCO, US FDA or EMEA requirement is completely different from patents. If you get a patent, the FDA is not going to approve your product. This has nothing to do with this activity actually. So commercialization has nothing to do with patenting. Patenting is optional, but if you want to commercialize your product, for sure you need to go through the FDA or CDSCO route. That is mandatory. And because when I interact with academicians, that point of time, the patent unfortunately is generally included under the drug regulatory affairs. But honestly, in the corporates, we have these two separate departments wherein there is no connection per se. How much is the cost for patent filing? I'm happy to actually inform all of you that the government of India has reduced the cost for patent filing by 80% for academic institutions. That means the cost for patent filing is now just 20% of it was there earlier actually. Earlier the cost was really very high, and that was hindering the academic institutions for filing the patents. But what we have seen, so this is a recent change which happened in the September 2021, and last 3 months suddenly we are seeing a lot of inflow of patent filing from academic institutions because of that. Also, there is a scheme under which government is also providing some funds to academic institutions. So this is under Ministry of Education's Kapila scheme. If you are eligible, then they would be providing you some funds for patent filing. It may not be that high, but then there are funds available. Now, can I file a patent application without telling my institute or guide? Yes, this happens in India. In fact, I had a request from one of the students who approached me for patent filing, and she mentioned that I don't want to include my guide's name in that. Now, morally or ethically, it may be wrong, but legally, if your institution or university doesn't have an IPR policy in place, you cannot stop your students, researcher, professors, the faculties or ex-faculties filing the patent without informing the institute actually. Now, this is something which is very crucial. As a university, as a department, if a university cannot have a blanket IPR policy, as a department, you can have pharmacy department or biotech department, you can have a IPR policy in place. Not sure whether the university has IPR policy. In fact, if you have an IPR policy, it's not only going to streamline the research ecosystem, but also it's going to, I would say, help you in terms of having your all KRAs set with respect to NAC, NB, or your IQAC or MOE, IIC, and all those activities actually. But then yes, this is something which is crucial. Can someone else file patent application of my invention? Now, this is also crucial, reason being at times students are sharing their systems. One computer or laptop being used by 10 students. Research is accessible to each other, and these things can happen in India. Again, legal versus moral or ethical. Now, legally, there is a way to avoid it later, but then it is always preferred that I would say this should be avoided upfront. I mean, you shouldn't allow these kind of practices at the institutions. We have seen these kind of cases actually. Now, there's one thing is that a patent file automatically gets published after 18 months. So the publication of an application is not similar to research paper or publication basically, because once a research paper is published, it's over right there, as in your research paper is actually evaluated and thereafter gets published. In case of patent, whatever you file automatically gets published. There is no evaluation before publication. Rather, after the filing and publication, the evaluation starts, and every publication doesn't result into grant of a patent. So there are two steps in patent. Once as an application it gets published, and second as a granted patent it gets published. Now, how much time does it take to get granted? Usually on an average 3 to 4 years actually the timeline. But recently we have seen a lot of things happening at patent office, and there is also expedited examination available. Herein what is happening out is we got a patent granted in 7.5 months time actually. There is some extra cost for that, but yes, it is possible to get a patent in on an average, on a conservative basis, 1 to 1.5 years actually. Cost after patent filing till grant. So on an average, the filing to grant cost should not go beyond 70 to 80,000. Now, if you do it, I would say, do it as a normal application without expedited examination, this 70 to 80,000 gets split into 3 to 4 years. If you want it upfront as an expedited examination or in the early publication, in that case, this entire cost with some extra 10% cost need to be borne in 1 year time. So you have that flexibility to decide based on the funds, based on the university's, I would say, guidelines, or based on the financial capacity actually. You can use the research funds for patent filing that is allowed. We are doing with most of the institutions. Can I commercialize the invention after grant? As I said, commercialization has nothing to do with patenting, but for sure, you can commercialize your invention after patent is filed. That is allowed. Now, so there was this one movie called Three Idiots, wherein we had a character played by Amir Khan of Funsuk Wangdo, who is a scientist somewhere in Ladakh actually, and he has got a lot of patent. And he had a friend who comes to him, to buy his patents basically. I just want to inform here that if you have a patent granted for your invention, no one is going to come to you and give you money for patent getting granted. Because if you have a expert patent agent or a smart patent agent, you can definitely get your patent granted. But the licensing or commercialization of every patent is not possible, because licensing or commercialization depends not whether your patent is granted or not. Rather, it depends more on whether your product is marketable. We are helping some of the inventions to get commercialized as well with some of our clients basically. Now, if your invention is commercializable and it is protected by patent, then only you would be actually getting some licensing fee or royalty. The concept of royalty, I would say, generally used that if you get a patent and someone would give you money for getting that patent granted is no. Actually, we should focus more on the research that can be commercializable and then seek the patent protection for that. If your invention itself is not commercializable, if you are working on a technology which is not commercializable in India, you're working on iontophoresis, you're working on nano and lots of the complex technologies basically. The industry simply wants, I would say 2022, industry simply wants oral products, simple products which can be consumed. If there are a lot of molecules which cannot be consumed orally, or there are a lot of issues with respect to those molecules, if you focus on that, that would be something which would be really good as far as commercialization is concerned. Next is difference between a design. So we also have something called a design, which is specifically also called as a design patent or industrial design. It is for the instruments or the aesthetic. So for example, if you're working in a Suptex or Ecology, any lab basically, if you come up with a new instrument, in that case, you can go for design actually. Now, I'll take you through the journey of a thesis to a granted patent basically. And we are working with a lot of, I would say, the academic institution for this. Now, what happens is once we sign the MOU with the institution, thereafter when we work with them, ensure that you are signing a confidentiality disclosure or non-disclosure agreement with patent agent first. Don't just disclose your thesis or research work to a patent agent via mail or anything without signing a CDA. Once we get the thesis, we evaluate the patentability report for that. We generate that patentability report. Now, what is meant by patentability report? In the previous session, we the honorable speaker spoke about novelty, non-inventive, inventive step, non-obviousness, and industrial applicability. We as a patent expert check these things, whether the thesis or the hypothesis or your research is patentable or not. Once we do that, then we draft a patent document which is similar to a research paper. We share it with you. Once you approve it, will file a patent application. Now, this is a receipt of an application filing. This is coming from one of the institutions in Mumbai. So the day you file a patent, you would get three things: date of filing, application number. If you can see this 20202 in the third or fourth line, actually, to Dr. Rajni Athavale, received documents for for patent number. So you get the application number on day one itself, along with the title. Title is a solid lipid matrix composition comprising tetracycline hydrochloride. Now, once you do this, thereafter, after 18 months, your invention gets published. A publication is an automatic process, automated process. This can be expedited. So instead of waiting for 18 months, what you can also do is you can actually have early publication request, and in few cases the application is published in 2 days. Wednesday we filed and Friday the application was in public domain. Yes, this is possible. 2 days time the patent application got published. You filed filed application, you got the receipt, and 2 days you get the application. But this is the case wherein this application has been published. Now herein your title, applicants, inventors, abstract, all the documents would be basically in the public domain. Anyone can access it, provided they are aware how to access it, basically. Thereafter, you go for something called as a request for examination. I think this chart was there in the earlier session, which is making my job a bit easier, I would say. So you request for examination. Now, compared to a research paper, you see this document is published without examination. Whatever you file got published. After that, you file for request for examination. There is a fees required for that. Once you have that request for examination, you get first examination report. What is the first examination report? The examination report tells you whether your invention has an inventive step, novelty, industrial applicability, non-patentability, whatever criteria is based on which you get your patent granted, basically. Okay, so this examination report, till this moment, filing and publication can be done by anyone. You as a professor or researcher can do draft and file and get it published. Automatically it gets published. This is the stage. Now this is a techno-legal document, examination report. Once you have the examination report, thereafter reply for that is required. And this what does a typical FER, what we also call as the FER, first examination report, it generally includes 4 things: novelty, inventive step, industrial applicability, and patentability in section 3. Whether your invention is patentable or not. Now, once you have this, you have to reply to that report. Basically, this is a two-way communication happening between the Patent Office, Government of India, and you as an applicant, you as a professor, you as a researcher. Or if I am working as a patent agent for you, then I am representing you at the Patent Office, basically. Now, this is how we make the reply, actually. Another case, and these are all live examples. Everything is from pharmaceutical domain. Now, if you see this invention is from Sutex, basically, microspheres loaded menthol. This invention, if you see, this is about the herbal products, pharmacognosy ka hai ye. The punica fruit pill extract for effervescent granules are prepared for that, for anti-ulcer and analgesic. This is also from SNDG Women's University, Mumbai, Pharmacy College. I've intentionally included all the examples from pharmacy colleges, pharmacy inventions, pharmacy professors, basically. Once you submit the reply, you directly get a grant of a patent, or you get a hearing notice. In a hearing notice, now, this is the only stage. Till this date, the entire communication was through papers, submissions, or I was just submitting the documents. I never interacted with the controller or the examiner basically, or someone at the patent office. This is the only stage hearing wherein you get an opportunity to convince the controller or examiner to grant the patent. Whatever you are submitting as a document, you can convince them now, because generally when you file an invention, it doesn't go to a pharma person. At patent office, it may be a biotech person, it may be a zoology, botany, chemistry person who is evaluating your invention. So eventually, this is an opportunity for you to discuss your invention with the controller, and this is the last stage for your patent application. After this, you get this wonderful grant certificate of your patent, which is from with the emblem of Government of India, sealed by the patent office, including your name, the certificate, as well as the patent application number, the application filing date, the patent number, the title, and the I would say date of grant as well. This entire journey of patent application, filing from your lab to grant of a patent, is something that I wanted to discuss in this very short duration. There are so many things actually which are, I would say, a bit complex, but I wanted to keep it very simple for the professors, because or the researchers or the students basically, because see, if you can do all these things on your own, that's the best, I would say. But as I said, this is more of a techno-legal. When I said techno-legal, I did my law, but that was very late. So patent office has a concept called patent agent, wherein a technical person like you and me can file patents or appear as a patent agent. There is an exam for patent agent basically, and therein a lawyer cannot give that exam, a technical person only can, and I qualified this exam in 2005. So this is something which I work with most of the life sciences, the pharmaceutical, biotech, chemistry inventions, because I understand the technology. If your patent agent understands your technology, entire process or journey becomes really very easy. If your patent agent doesn't understand your technology, because as I said, beyond pharmacist, you can have an engineer or a medical graduate or science person as well who can be a patent agent. But ensure before selecting a patent agent that he or she is in a position to understand your invention effectively, because that's when they would be in a position to do justice to your invention. So this is something I wanted to share. I'm almost done with my session. I would just like to conclude with this slide. In pharma academics, we know this concept of product and processes. In each of the case, Ceutics, chemistry, ecology, cognosy. Why I have combined ecology, cognosy? Because most of the times the research therein is with respect to herbal and the preclinical studies related to that basically. All these are patentable basically, but then there are certain sections like section 3D, 3I, 3P, which doesn't make these inventions patentable. These are some sections which are India specific, non-patentable invention, but there are ways to avoid these as well. Like in case of combinations, if you show the synergy, then you can avoid section 3. In case of traditional knowledge, curcumin, haldi, curcuma longa is not patentable. Absolutely fine. But haldi has a staining effect on skin. Haldi has a solubility problem basically. If you come up with a solid dispersion product for curcuma longa, that is for sure patentable. If you come up with a nanoparticulate composition of curcuma longa, for sure it is patentable, provided it is new. In case of chemistry, processes definitely are patentable. Products, new drugs are patentable. In case of chemistry, the only concern is with respect to the derivatives, polymorphs, prodrugs kind of stuff. the second generation, which are not patentable in India under Section 3D, unless and until it provides a enhanced therapeutic efficacy over the earlier product, basically. So I'm done with my session. Just to conclude, we are working with a lot of pharmacy institutions across India. We are providing the patent filing to grant entire services. We are also doing a lot of joint courses, which are 30 hours or 10 hours. We are doing a lot of faculty development programs, training programs, not only for the students, for the trainers, the faculties, researchers. We are also providing internship for the students. We have signed a lot of MOUs with the academic institutions. So basically, Mumbai is a base for us, but then beyond that, Pune, most of the institutions, like in the western region, I would say we work with some institutions in Pondicherry, Punjab, Goa, Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, as well as we work with an institution in Tripura as well. And I had this opportunity to visit two institutions in Assam and Tripura a couple of years back. I also visited Siliguri, actually, that was the engineering institution, Siliguri Institute of Technology, for conducting some programs actually in West Bengal. Beyond that, we are working with some of the, I would say, top ranking institutions and government universities as well for various activities. We are working with, I would say, institutions which are ranked anywhere between, I would say, 1 to 10 outside, below 10 in the NIRF ranking. And that's how we are actually, we have tried to create an ecosystem which would help each and everyone who is into pharma or other domains and gets benefited with the activities that we are involved into. Not only students, but also the researchers, the faculties, because at the end of the day, the end goal of new education policy or NAC NBA NRF ranking is to improve the ecosystem or research ecosystem at the academic institutions. And I think this program for sure, the way it has been designed is going to help each one of you who have participated for this particular webinar. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and I'm open for the questions if at all there are any to take them. I hope I have tried to limit myself within the provided time duration actually, and look forward ahead to meet in person with each one of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your very nice presentation. We are very much enlightened with the topic. Actually, I'm also interested on the topic of patenting. So I get a very brief idea. So I would like to know more from you. So if we get the mail ID from our HOD sir also. So I would like to Prashant sir, he is the chairman of this session. So I would like to request Dr. Prashant Kumar Chakraborty to have some speech on this session. And if we want to ask some questions from the participants or the delegates or the colleagues of the participants. Sir, over to you, Prashant sir.
Thank you, madam. I may be excused that I could not present myself at the beginning because of internet problem. So my questions are there for Dr. D.I. The question number one is, if I suppose we are talking on pharmaceutical patents, so if a particular patent on formulation of API is nearing expiry, can I extend that by some means? So, for example, packaging development change, we can make it, or some other means that I just want to have some highlight from you. Extension of the existing patents near expiry.
Yeah. Term extension is not allowed, but so the term is always 20 years. But there is a molecule which is product for which product is patented. You can have different processes getting patented for that same molecule, as well as you can have new different formulations as well, which can for sure be patented for that particular molecule. So a single product can have lots of patents. That is allowed actually.
But if I change if I modify the packaging part, that is the product packaging.
No, sir, no. Product packaging. See, I'll tell you what happens. That is something which is so when we think about a product per se, formulation or process for preparing for a product, basically, those things can be patentable. But then aesthetic look, the external packaging change may not give you patent separately.
Even if
But
it is a even if it is a innovative packaging, there are so many examples.
I'm coming to that, sir. So if you are, so in that case, I won't call it as a patent for a product or process. It would be a patent for the packaging. And
Yes,
packaging
yes,
patents is
yes,
absolutely fine, provided again. But sir, honestly, for packaging, getting a patent becomes difficult because you have to show the novelty. The packaging itself should be new.
So
Okay,
in
that's
that,
yeah.
in that case also 20 years extension you can get, or it is something different.
So the term would be always 20 years for the patent.
Even
Yeah.
if it is innovative packaging, in that case also.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
My second question is on concept patenting. Suppose I have developed an innovative concept, which may not be translated immediately, but it will definitely be translated after a couple of years worldwide. But my concept is innovative and it is non-obvious, purely. So whether concept can be patented.
Sir, you can file it as a provisional, but you have just 1 year time to execute that plan. Beyond that, it's not allowed actually. So within 1 year, you have to execute it, the concept, or I would call it generally as a hypothesis.
Okay.
Right? So you can file it as a provisional within 1 year. So you have just 1 year time, and within 1 year, for sure, you have to execute it and file the complete application. Beyond that, it's not allowed, sir.
Within 1 year, we have to complete all the things of the claims and all the things, everything you have to do.
Absolutely.
Prior art, what I can do, because it is a concept patenting which has never been thought about. So prior art, what I should write there?
Sir, you don't need to, it is not mandatory to write the prior arts. So as an agent, what we do is we just provide a broader technology domain instead of providing any specific things, basically. Broader technology domain we can include therein as a background, basically. So prior art is something which is anything available before you file the patent. So generally, sir, we know that when we do any research, we are inspired from some product or some process. So that inspiration, wherever it is coming from, that we can include as a prior art, sir.
But that will be subjective in this case. It will be subjective rather than objective.
Absolutely.
So that will do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. My third question is regarding the informal patenting in the informal purpose. Say, for example, jewelers, they develop, as you know, in West Bengal, there are a lot of talented jewelers who develop different exquisite designs for the ornaments, and later on that the designs, when it is approved, then they go to Maharashtra, in Mumbai particularly, or some other places to make that thing sellable. And then that government gets a lot of crores of money out of that thing by the way of export. But the persons who are working in a very shabby conditions, maybe in a group of 4 or 5, without any external support, without any patent lawyer help. So this type of designs and this type of developments are normally coming under informal sector. So what is your take on the patenting in this type of informal sector? This is just an example. There are hundreds of examples I can give you, and you also know that.
Yes, sir. So I'll divide this question into 2 parts. Firstly, for the jewelries and all, definitely we have the design protection rather than patent. Okay, this is first part. Second part, sir. Now I work with ASSOCHAM as well, and Government of India has lot of facilitation centers wherein you don't need to pay a single rupee to government. You can protect your inventions. There is a government funding available for MSMEs specifically, startups specifically, wherein government is providing you full funding for your innovation. That is first part. And we also have something called NRDC, National Research Development Corporation. NRDC has a technology transfer office. NRDC is a government initiative wherein all these research that is happening at a local level by MSMEs is transferred to the big corporates, and they get the fund, they get the royalty for sure. So this is another government initiative basically. Unfortunately, what is happening out, as you rightly mentioned, there are so many people who are doing this. There are great innovative ideas,
Yes.
but then unfortunately, these schemes which are by government are at times not percolated down
Correct.
to the
Correct.
individuals
It
basically.
is not reaching. Yes.
Absolutely, and that's where I think our role comes into play as a research center, as a university, not only for our university students, but also for the surrounding areas as well, wherein we can facilitate these things.
Yes.
So there are 100 plus facilitation centers. Even some universities have IP facilitation centers. They are not restricted to the universities, but for the entire region basically, wherein they can act as a facilitator between government and the local communities as well. So this is all happening here. But as I said, there are very few, especially when we speak about the rural. I belong to a very small town in Maharashtra. Currently, I'm sitting in a very small town in Maharashtra. We also know here that there are a lot of things happening, but
That is
those
Latur, no? Latur.
yes,
Yeah. Famous for earthquake.
yes. So I'm actually I also know the limitations of the schemes, but then it's a process that is happening over a period of time. And at the end of the day, I think these small efforts like this by the university or institutions are going to make great changes in the next generation for sure. I think I tried to answer both your questions.
Yes. Thank you. My another question is regarding the startup projects. Regarding the startup projects, what are the regulatory constraints people may face at the time of patenting? Because there is no clear-cut idea about the regulatory involvements in the startup projects, particularly at the interface of the patenting. So, what is your take?
Sir, we work with a lot of startups actually. So for startups, basically, there is no separate, I would say, mechanism for patenting. It's exactly the same mechanism that I discussed just now. But only difference is that startups don't need to pay anything. The entire things would be paid by the government, just like MSMEs. For startups as well. Rather, startups are eligible for expedited examination. They can get the patent granted very on the fast track in 6-7 months time actually. And we work with a lot of startups, not only the healthcare or pharma startups, but outside that as well we work, wherein technology startups and all, wherein we file the patents. So in case of startups, basically the requirement at government level or regulatory level may be different, but for patent perspective, it's exactly same. Only difference is they are in fact prioritized in terms of funding as well as they are prioritized in terms of getting the patent granted.
What is the limit for the grant or funds in those projects?
Sir, for startups and MSMEs, there are a lot of schemes actually. We have a funding up to, I think, 1 lakh per patent, which can be accessed by MSMEs or startups as well. If the organizers allow me to chat for a couple of minutes, I'll share my contact details here in the chat box.
Please.
Yeah,
Sure, sir.
please allow me to chat for a couple of minutes. I'll share my contact details. You can get in touch with me because we are working with respect to this. You can directly call me, WhatsApp. This number is also available on WhatsApp, or email me for various schemes for MSMEs and startups in your not only your institute or university but around as well, wherein you can actually, I would say, contribute as a university or institution, and I would be more than happy to answer those. There are a lot of other things. I'll just also share one more link, which is for our most of the announcements happen on this particular channel. If any schemes are coming or anything we are doing, I have shared a link of a YouTube channel. Basically, we run this. The students would definitely get benefited. Related to patent, a lot of information is also available on that. So anyone can get in touch with me, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Vijay sir, I have a very small question because I'm also trying to do my own patent. I'm doing some work. So
Yeah.
I would like to do some patent on that. It is in half of the venture has been done. So my simple question is that whenever it is getting coming into the journal website, in patenting website, that it has been granted, not granted, it has been first is coming to journal website. Their name of the inventor is there, name of the applicants, and after that name of the inventors. So name of the applicants is getting more benefited from there, or team members. What are the team members? All are getting similar mileage or similar benefits from that.
Sir, actually, applicant is the real owner for the invention.
Okay.
And so applicant need not be an individual. Applicant can be a department, it can be a university, it can be a corporate as well. The applicant is the owner, and inventors are the one who have contributed to that idea basically, but they need not own the idea. They did not own the idea. The legally ownership would always be with the applicants.
With the applicants.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, sir. As you said that before doing patent application, we should not have to publish into any journals. So that is the main thing, as you said, and I also know that. I think all of you know that. But the thing is that is coming to always in our mind that whenever we started somewhat in the thinking that I'm going to do in that into brand, so it will take a long time to carrying out that experiments or total bench work. So it is coming in everything in our mind that whether if someone is going into the same area, he is going to do something, so it will be difficult for us to go for the patenting. So therefore, so how can you explain that one? That first we should not.
Yes, so sir, as I mentioned, it is first to file system. The one like first come first serve basis basically.
Yes.
If okay, for example, Dr. Prasenjit, you are working on a research project. I am also working on the same research project. Okay, I file the patent first, and you do the experiments first. Still, I would be the one who would get the patent rather than you who has done the experiments first. So we have first. Yeah.
Okay, sir. That is okay. But the thing is that suppose you are also doing the same area and you make it into journal publication. But I am also doing the same thing and some extension for that, at least to go for filing a patent. So it may be whether it may be creating any problems or not.
It would create a problem. It's not your publication. If third party also publishes, it's going to create a problem for each one of us. So it is always recommended, the moment you feel this idea is workable, file a patent first and then within 1 year execute it. That's how we do with every pharmacy college basically.
That what is said about the hypothesis patent, like that only, or
Yeah. So anyway, your entire research, the masters or PhD is dependent on a hypothesis, right?
means within 1 year we should have to show some
execute it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Just a request to the students,
Thank you,
if
sir,
you
for
can.
your nice presentation.
Just one request to the students. Students, if you can subscribe to the YouTube channel if you like the session, that would be really great. Thank you.
Students, are you hearing?
Thank you, sir.
I think, sir, all the students are not here. Most of the students are watching from the live stream only, sir. So with the teacher, will definitely let them know. Okay, sir? Okay. Thank you, sir.
So I would like to the technical team to share the experience, so to share the certificate to Dr. Shivapuji.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Vijay Kumar Shivapuji, sir, for delivering such an informative speech. We all got to know about so many new things. So I also want to thank respected Chairman Prashant Kumar Chakraborty, sir, and moderator Mrs. Shikha Sarkar Banerjee, madam, for the session.
Thank you, Dr. Sibuje. Dr. Vijay. Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure
Yeah.
interacting with all of you. Yeah.
Then this is the Rainier University. I think everybody acquainted with you and with your expertise. You have very simply, in a simple way, you have explained from this academic institute or research institute how we can make the patents and all things. It's a really the interesting and very inspiring also. So many of our faculty members and I mean in the university will be inspired to be involved in this patent research and all these things, publications. And some of the time, if you are possible that you visit to university, it will be great. And you
Surely,
can
sir.
have
Yeah.
some interaction also.
Right, sir. Yep.
And regarding patent and other things, we'll tell later on. You have given this address and all these things, and we'll be in touch with you.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think with this, we come to this end of the morning session. Is it Brahmaji?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we'll go for this lunch, and after the lunch, you see already to 1.
It's 1:30. 1:30 already.
1:30. So we'll be back at 2:30.
2:30. Okay, sir.
Yeah. So exactly at 2:30 we'll start. I think Dr. S.K. Mitra, Dr. Sushil Kumar Mitra, he is just watching and yeah, welcome, sir. Dr. Mitra.
Yes, okay, no issue. I will come back. I will attend at 2:30.
Yeah.
Presentations. Okay.
Yes.
Instead of 2. Okay.
Yeah. Please see that this everybody return in time. We are starting the next session.
Okay. 2:30 we will start.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? So we'll break and again we will join after 1 hour.
Okay. Thank you.
So thank you, everyone. We'll be back at 2:30. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Recording বন্ধ করে দিতে পারো।